driving a Hilux, and I noticed I'm being followed. Okay, let's see if I can lose this guy. So I take multiple turns and this guy is still on me. As soon as I hang up the phone, I am surrounded by like cars left and right. They all get out, put me under gunpoint. They locked me, and I had an Apple Watch on, and my friend was calling me. I responded on the Apple Watch, so he can just hear the background noise, like, help, I'm being kidnapped, like, just so he can hear me. Didn't take him long. They reached for my phone and turned it off.
Welcome to Combat Story. I'm AJ Pasciuti, a retired Marine, Force Recon, Scout Sniper, and Marine Gunner with 21 years of service, multiple combat tours, and a lifetime of lessons learned in the arena itself. On this show, I sit down with warriors from every front line to uncover what combat truly feels like and how it shapes the way we see life, each other, and ourselves. This is Combat Story.
In today's Combat Story, we sit down with Azad, known overseas as Mike, a man whose life traces one of the most extraordinary arcs of the post-9/11 era. A Kurdish native of Baghdad and a child during the 2003 invasion, Azad's first encounters with Americans weren't shaped by movies or media, but by U.S. soldiers occupying his hometown when the stakes were at their highest. Driven by curiosity and necessity, he taught himself English before applying to become a U.S. military interpreter. He would go on to serve alongside of some of America's most storied units, the 101st and 82nd Airborne Divisions, Marine Special Operations, and multiple Navy SEAL teams, often in the most dangerous and remote corners of the fight. His service earned him a special immigrant visa, and once in the United States, Azad did something almost unheard of. He raised his right hand again, this time as an enlisted U.S. Marine infantryman, trading the role of interpreter for that of warfighter. Since leaving the service, Azad has continued to build forward. He earned his bachelor's degree from the University of Maryland and is now pursuing a master's in cybersecurity at the University of San Diego, and continues to serve through the nonprofit No One Left Behind, advocating for those who supported the United States to receive the representation and support they deserve. Join us as we walk through Azad's remarkable journey, from a child navigating war in Iraq to a trusted interpreter deep in enemy territory to United States Marine, and explore what service, identity, and loyalty mean when they're lived across continents and combat zones. Welcome to Combat Story. This is Azad.
Hello, everyone. Thank you again. Welcome back to Combat Story. My name is AJ Pasciuti, and I'm excited to sit down with a very new friend of mine, Mike Azad. And so Mike Azad and I have had a number of places where our paths have crossed over the last 20 years, but we've never actually met before. Mike is a student at University of San Diego, where we recently met and engaged in some pretty fun conversation. And I asked him to come on the show because I think that his story is one of the most compelling and interesting stories I've come across in a long time. With that, everybody, I'd like to introduce Azad. Mike.
Thank you, AJ, for having me. I appreciate it. It's an honor.
Dude, the pleasure is mine.
Thank you.
I am when preparing for this interview, there was so much that was, I can ask so many different types of questions. I can ask a bunch of military type questions. I can also ask a ton of questions that I just don't know in the realm. So if you could start us off with where you were born, when you were born, and a little bit of what it was like in your childhood before 2003.
Absolutely. So I was born in Baghdad in 1996. My dad was a taxi driver. And just to add this, before anything, I'm ethnically Kurdish from northern Iraq. Lived there for a couple of years, for probably like 6 years, if I can remember. I have an idea, some like really blurry vision of what it was like being under Saddam. My dad driving us around the city, taking us to get some food or anything, like seeing Saddam's picture everywhere. And to just give a little bit of background about the Kurds, the Kurdish people, one of the largest populations in the world that do not have their own independent country. They're majorly spread across Turkey, Iran, Syria, and Iraq, kind of in that little region. And throughout history, thousands of years, Kurds have always been oppressed and under scrutiny from dictatorship governments. So this is a quick story. My dad shared with us when we were old enough. He said he was a taxi driver driving in Baghdad. This is probably 97, 98. And that he had made a U-turn and he got hit in the back with the Land Cruiser by one of Saddam's bodyguard's sons. Coming up to my dad, seeing that he had an old Volkswagen taxi, they just basically made fun of him that you're just a poor guy who you don't have much power. And thankfully he didn't say anything or didn't share that he was Kurdish. But then that was when my dad realized that we have to move to where his parents live. So
for my own edification, it was very hard for me to tell the difference between Sunni and Shia and Kurd. Can you explain a little bit of the difference of that? And then can Iraqis tell?
Absolutely. So it's kind of hard. If you're not really from there and you don't speak the language, it's hard. People that live there, if I can have a conversation with somebody, I'll be able to tell if they're Kurdish or not.
How so?
Well, I'm a very bad example of a Kurd because I have very dark skin.
Okay.
But Kurds usually have lighter skin. Okay. And probably 80% of the Kurds don't speak Arabic. So you can tell immediately. So if you're from there, if you lived there, grew up embedded, you have an idea. It's really not that hard to tell the way you dress up, the way you speak. It might be weird to say, but the type of cars that you drive as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And for somebody that's been like a lot of the guys that I worked with, that deployment had an idea of who is a Kurd or an Arab, but with last names and just like general life orientation. Is there a simple answer that you can? No.
From my understanding, when I went to Iraq, I was 18 years old the first time that I was in Iraq. And when I left Iraq for the last time, I was 22 years old. So I had a very small window into the country and the culture and tried to adapt and learn as much as possible. As a Kurdish people, is there a caste system? Do you fall somewhere within a caste? I understood before the regime fell, the Ba'ath Party was placed at the very, very highest, and they had complete control and I would say free reign across the country. Where do the Kurds fall into that?
The Kurds are generally based in the northern part of Iraq and then southern part of Turkey, because northern Iraq, southern Turkey, it's like one border. Mm-hmm. And then you have western Iran and then eastern Syria. That small, tiny region is where the Kurds stand. This is thousands of years ago. That's where they emerged from. And they also fall under the category of Indo-Europeans. It doesn't mean that they're Europeans, but the term Indo-European is basically an umbrella of people across from India, west, all the way to Europe that share different languages like Farsi, Arabic, Kurdish, and some other European countries. That's what they really fall under.
Was there a lot of European influence into the shaping of where the Kurds ended up?
From what I know is that this might be a funny example, but the Roman Empire, when they went across the Middle East, mm-hmm. made it all the way to India and Pakistan, as they went by, they left generals behind them or people with influence that, okay, we just conquered this territory, you're going to stay here and you're going to spread your influence. And they usually say that we have the Kurds have big noses. It's the Roman nose. The Roman nose. So that's as far as my knowledge goes of where did we really get our influences? Because if you go back to that part of the world, you can still see some of the old Roman structures. You can find one of the oldest churches in the world, Marmatai, actually is in Nineveh in Mosul. And Nineveh is mentioned in the Bible.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So for people that are listening, if they've been to Mosul, it's the second largest city in Iraq. And if you look up, you have the huge mountains on top. And in those mountains, there's a small church that is one of the oldest, and if not Middle East, in the world. It's called Marmatai, but very, very rich land. And
Wow.
that's where the Kurds are. Yeah.
Okay, so born in 1996,
Yep.
father was a taxi driver. Why? So, random question: was his taxi, was it orange and white? Is that
Yes.
just the way that Iraqis paint their taxis?
Yeah.
Is that only indicative to Iraq, or does that happen elsewhere in the Middle East?
So the older taxi versions where they would paint the front and the back of the vehicle red and the middle part was white.
Yeah.
But the yellow and the orange one started becoming more common in the recent years. That's a lot of Middle East.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of yellow taxis in the Middle East.
Yeah, I remember that was a new phenomenon to us because we're used to yellow and black, checkered cabs, if you will. And then going over to Iraq, we didn't associate that those were taxis. I mean, again, we learned, later on, but we knew that was a primary mode of transportation.
Moving from Baghdad, we go to live with my grandparents in the city of Sulaymaniyah. The way Kurdistan is drawn in Iraq, the northern part is not its own country. It's an independent region. I'm still considered, or used to, an Iraqi citizen. I have an Iraqi passport. But when you cross the KCL or the KDL, this is the term that was established during the Battle of ISIS, Battle of Mosul. You go across that border between Iraq and Kurdistan. It's manned by the Peshmerga. The Peshmerga are the Kurdish military. So we go to Sulaymaniyah, and this is 2001. I'm sitting at home, and my uncle turns the TV on, and what I can see on the TV is 2 tall buildings and airplanes just flying into it. I had no idea what was going on. I was just barely able to understand what's going on around me. And I remember my uncle picking up the phone and calling my dad saying, "You need to come home and watch this." Being a Kurd, we've always known that we're strong allies to the United States. And throughout the years of oppression and genocide, the U.S. has been a very firm backbone to the Kurds. So anyways, my dad comes home, and we're all like just shocked what's going on in the world. My dad ends up getting a job in Kirkuk. So we get ready to leave Sulaymaniyah. So leave the Kurdish region, come back to the Iraqi region in 2004. Let me backtrack a step real quick. In 2003, when the invasion happened, we were still living in Sulaymaniyah, safe. Kurdish territory, Kurdish region, no Saddam influence whatsoever.
So how does the Kurdish region of Iraq, when from my perception of Iraq, Saddam ruled all of Iraq and his family with an iron fist. How did you protect northern Iraq? And can you go into a little bit of the history of the conflict between the Kurds and the Iraqi government, I should say?
So when Anfal happened, Anfal basically is an Arabic word for genocide. What happened is Saddam Hussein, he flew helicopters with deadly chemical gas that he dropped on a Kurdish city it's called Halabja, the city where a couple thousand people, women, children, men, just died on the streets. And there's a lot of history in that. And there's a museum as well in Sulaymaniyah. That was during the war between Iraq and Iran. And the claim from the Iraqi government was that they were pushing Iranian forces out, which is wrong in history. There's no really strong evidence of that. Kurds were constantly killed by the Iraqi government. So post that, fast forward, is when the 2 major Kurdish parties were founded. Well, the first one was KDP, Kurdish Democratic Party, that basically made a deal with the Ba'ath government, Saddam's region. Like, we're going to draw our lines here. This is our borders, our territories, and that's how the Kurds were able to maintain their own territory. And later on, that KDP party wasn't the only major Kurdish party. Then the PUK was formed, Patriotic Union of Kurdistan. This is just, you can think of it as like Democrats and Republicans, two major parties in Kurdistan. And so they maintained somewhat of a peaceful relationship with the Iraqi government. Okay, leave us alone. This is our own territory. So in 2003, prior to the invasion, this was a message that was going around. We all knew as Kurds, if the Americans invade Iraq, I'm going to go for the Kurds. This is from Saddam, from the Ba'ath Party. So as the invasion, like the initial steps of invasion, there were a lot of threats that went out to the Kurds, like, we're going to bomb you again and drop chemicals on you. So in 2003, I believe it was February, March, at this point, it's my family, my uncle's family, and my grandparents. We all live in one house. We packed the house, shoved it all into one room, and then we all got into a bus. My dad had a bus, and then we drove off. I can't tell you how far, but we went to a village where we had relatives there. That was our way to go hide from Saddam's threat. And when the invasion happens, we get the all clear signal, like, hey, Saddam is actually, he flee, and the Kurds are safe right now. The Americans are here. So we go back to Suleimania, and then that's when my dad became a teacher. So we moved to Kirkuk, 2004, and I'm sure you know this, that like 1 year during and after the invasion, it was very subtle. Mm-hmm. Like the U.S. government was in charge. The situation was very subtle. So we moved to Kirkuk, and that's really when I saw U.S. Army soldiers for the first time. And I'll never forget this. There was a huge soccer field with a house at the end corner, and that was one of the places that the U.S. Army had took over and like posted up, and they were playing football, American football. Yeah. So we're driving in, and I've never seen
an American
ever. Only time I saw anything American related was my dad and I would watch John Rambo's movie.
I do remember in Iraq, I remember I was stationed in OIF-1 after the invasion. I was in Diwania, and in Diwania, they would have random murals of John Rambo with an M60 with no shirt on and the red bandana, right? And that was what I think a lot of Iraqis thought of Americans.
Exactly.
So if I can take you back just a second. So you are 6 years old, 8 years old. So born in 1996. I'm not going to do math in public. We all know that's my rule. And so 2001, you see two random buildings in the United States and two airplanes fly into them. What was the feeling, if you can recall? I know that you said your uncle called your dad and told him to get home. What was the feeling? Because there was we eventually found out that the Taliban attacked the United States. Within about 6 months, the United States focus turned to Iraq. Can you explain that time period, if the best that you can, from a 6 to 8 year old's perspective of seeing the Taliban, attack the United States, and then all of a sudden a lot of the rhetoric being raised around Iraq?
I never want to forget that day. My grandpa was there and my uncle was there. And really what I could think of in the moment was what's going on in the world. This is scary. This is not good. This is bad. Because immediately, like, people realized that that's not an accident. That's definitely an attack and on purpose. And then going after that, then the threat of Saddam Hussein bombing us and then us going to the village was just, at that point, everything that's going on in my head is war, why, and where is safety, and where am I going to have my next meal, is what I could really think of. And later on, as I grew older and things happened more, is when my perspective shifted and I could see things more clearly and understand what's going on. But I always knew I'm Kurdish and we're oppressed, and we're not able to talk and have a really freedom of speech. And one quick thing to share is my mom's family lived in this town called Kanakin, and that's like close to the Iranian border. So she would go and visit her parents, and she would take me with her, but my dad wouldn't go, and he wouldn't drive us as well. So we would just get a taxi. There's these taxis that drive across the cities from city to city in Iraq. It's like a bus station. You go and you pay somebody, and then they'll drive you. And going through those checkpoints, like my parents speak fluent Arabic, and you can never tell if they're Kurdish. I speak really good Arabic as well. You wouldn't be able to tell, and I'll get into that later of how important was that when I was a translator. So when my mom would visit her parents, she would take me with her, and we would go through bath checkpoints, and they would come and investigate. Who are you? What are you doing? And where are you going?
Can you take me through what that's like? So you're 6 years old going through a bath checkpoint. What kind of questions do they ask?
Who are you? They're going to search everything, open up the bags, the trunk, because you're coming from Kurdish territories, and where you're going. They wanted to see if you're mukhabarat, meaning if you're conducting espionage. So they want to see if you're Kurdish intelligence that's trying to come across the border to collect intel. That's why there was no men. Like my dad wouldn't go.
Okay.
It's women and children, and my mom was really worried. So when we get to, and I'll never forget this as well, and I would like to write these things down somewhere now that it's on record. When we got there a few days later, and what the Ba'ath would do, they would bust down houses randomly and search, like, what's going on? What are you guys doing? Who's this and that? I remember one day we were at my grandparents' house. They had a huge front yard, and I hear a huge, loud knocking on the door. And my aunt looked at my mom and said, "Go hide him. This is the Ba'ath. They're searching." Because
go hide you?
Yeah, because as a kid, if someone comes up to you, like an officer in the Ba'ath party, and they ask you a few questions, you might slip.
Yeah, you're going to tell everyone.
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, so I'm Kurdish. My dad's my." So they would hide me. My mom. I remember my mom was. There's these Iraqi brooms. I don't know if you've seen. She was like cleaning, and she just dropped that and grabs me and just shoves me into the house. And then later, we couldn't let them see you and question you and take you to the side and talk to you, just stuff like that. Yeah, that was what it was like to be a Kurd under Saddam. And
so just random, we're going to come in. You're just in a constant state of threats, constant state of attack. I can't imagine that the Ba'ath party individuals were very respectful of anybody when they were coming through. I mean, it was just a constant interrogation.
Absolutely. First time seeing U.S. soldiers is I realized, okay, these guys look really cool. They look like they're not from here. Like John Rambo's movie was very famous across the map, and everybody would talk about it and like, wow, these guys they have all kinds of cool gear. They have big guns. They look like they're here to protect us. And Kirkuk city, very, very conflicted area.
Sure.
Everybody wants a piece of it. You have the Iranian influence, all the Shia militias, the Hezbollah, and like, etc. And then you have the Sunnis, which was Al-Qaeda. And this is when we said that Iraq was a little calm during that year because they were cooking in the background, the insurgents. They were getting ready.
A huge, I remember we left, the first group of combat troops left in and around September of 2003. So we had the invasion and from March, and then occupied after May to September, and then we retrograded back to the United States, and our next units came in. I remember there was a feeling of the units that replaced us that they had missed the war, that that Iraq was done, it was taken care of, it was solved, and there was almost a feeling of the troops that were replacing us of like missing out. And it's a weird phenomenon to explain to people, but as Marines, they want to go to war,
Get the job done.
They get the job done, do the thing that they're training for. And then I remember it simmered for a while. And so, yeah, what was it like during that time frame where there was, I remember in 2003 driving around Diwania by myself in a Humvee with a boombox. And so I was going from checkpoint to checkpoint at 19 years old with just like a CD boombox thing, listening to whatever tunes I was with a gun in my lap, completely in a soft skin Humvee. If I would have done that in April of 2004, it would have been a very different experience. So what was happening as far as the Kurdish people? You were in Kirkuk. So, okay, the invasion's over. Saddam has now gone into hiding. What is going on with your family? What's going on with life? Are you guys trying to get back to normal?
So we get settled in Kirkuk. We go to school. And then that's when I started seeing more and more of U.S. military guys, like the U.S. Army, the Marines, just Humvees, like huge up armor trucks down the road driving, and just convoys. It was calm for a while, but then it started picking up. Explosions started happening, car bombs. That was very common in Kirkuk. Growing up, like if you talk to any of my friends that I grew up with, or anybody in my family, and ask them what was very common during 2005, 6, 7, that whole era, car bombs and kidnapping. A lot of rich people would get kidnapped, like rich families, their kids would get kidnapped. And
was this for terror? Was it for ransom?
Ransom, yeah. Like,
so
you have
who
your
was
son.
Kidnapping them?
Militias. That was the word. Militias are kidnapping people. But then you wouldn't have to worry about it if you didn't come from a rich family. As weird as it sounds, my dad was like, I'm not worried about you guys, because if they take you, like, I don't have $100,000 to give, or even $10,000 back then was huge money.
Yeah.
But then car bombs started picking up, and the word on what they would teach us in school is stay away from Americans. That's what they taught us. Like, and they paint such a bad picture. You stay away from American soldiers because they're dangerous. They're here to harm us. They're here to kill us. You see all these car bombs, they're causing that. So in that era of your life, you're just soaking up information and knowledge from your surroundings.
Sure.
And your teachers at school are basically teaching you everything you need to know. And when they try to like nail it down in your brain that Americans are bad, and they try to enforce Islam, radical Islam, extreme Islam in your brain, there's so much you can take until you're like, I don't think this makes any sense. This is
okay. So you're now 8 years old, kind of going through this. Were the teachers, did they come from the Ba'ath Party? Were they Sunni? Were they Shia? Is there a normal, or what would be considered traditional, sect of society that has that specific job?
So that's a great question. It was really hard in Kirkuk because it was very diverse. You had Sunnis, Shias, Kurds, Turkmens in the schools and at the government sector. So the school there was no Kurdish schools there. So I went to an Arabic school.
Okay.
This is 2006 and 7, and I'm in 7th, 8th grade. And I went to a very diverse school. There was a lot of Arab students, and I was one of the very, very few Kurds there. And during the elections, my school was a poll station.
Okay.
And then they had the army secure the school. Mm-hmm. So they would come and set up around the school while we're at school.
And this was January 30th, 2007, if I'm not
That's perfect.
mistaken.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It was the first Iraqi elections. That was
Yeah.
really big. That was an important milestone for
Yeah.
the United States to hand over, control to establish a free and fair. That's why Fallujah was fought in the first place.
That's perfect timing. I think the second election
Mm-hmm.
is when I was able to start interacting with soldiers. That was my opportunity. I would just go up to a random soldier and practice 2 things I know. Hi, what's your name?
I remember that. I remember like the Iraqi kids coming up, and they would try to say like American slang or Americans, and so. Boy, Marines! Oh God, we would teach young Iraqi children. We would teach them slang from the United States, and we would be like, "What's up?" Right? And so like the kids would come and be like, "What's up?" And then they taught us shukumaku, right? You know, what does shukumaku mean?
Shukumaku means, literally to translate it, means what's there, what's not there, but it like what's up, pretty much.
And I've asked other Arabic cultures, I've said the term shukumaku, and
just Iraqi.
It's just Iraqi.
Pure Iraqi slang.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. That's something that's very
I probably was one of those kids that came up to you.
Oh, dude, 100%.
I probably got MREs thrown at me.
we would have candy, right? You know, and they would always come up and say, Bush good, Saddam donkey, right? You know, like, and then I remember, you know, it was heartbreaking because you see a lot of these children, right, that are now thrust into a war-torn country that they didn't ask for, they didn't understand, and then are in this constant state of fear. And then you have Americans that are rotating in and out of these. We would establish relationships with them where we could, and we would have that for 4 to 6 months, wherever that was at, and then we would move on. And I always felt kind of sad from that, I think, at some level, because I would get to go and, you know, go home and go away from that, you know, the war zone. And I always felt for the Iraqi children that really had to stay. And that was kind of an empathy, you know, kind of, you know, guiding through that. What was that, you know, dealing with your, you know, the American soldiers on a daily basis? Were they kind to you? Were they rude? What was the general kind of feeling you got?
Honestly, my personal experience, nobody was ever rude to me. Everybody was really nice to me. I think it was more of how you presented yourself, because I also saw some little shithead kids that would that would try to throw rocks, or I was genuinely interested. I would just go up and, "Hi, what's your name? Where are you from?" And I remember Connorman and Lee, if you're out there, God bless you. Probably just saw those dudes like once or twice at my school, and they just disappeared. It was just people that I had a conversation with. "Where are you from?" I've heard Los Angeles. I've heard Chicago is the only thing I can remember from interactions with random soldiers. And that got me in a lot of trouble at school.
Why is that?
Because I went to a school in Iraq, and it was an Islamic school. Like, it wasn't teaching you Sharia law, but learning math, chemistry, everything else. There's a specific class that's called Islamic Studies. And they teach you all about Islam. You read the Quran. I'm left-handed, and I write with my left hand. And my Islamic teacher would tell me, "We need to cut your wrist off because you're left-handed. You're writing the Quran with your left hand." And that was one of the big highlights for me, to tell myself, "No, this is not it." So when they see me approach the soldiers, I would get in trouble. I would even get like my ear twisted by my teacher. "You're not supposed to hang out with the infidels." That's what they would tell me. And then that made me hang out with them even more.
Yeah, you know, preteen, teen, right? You know?
And then, so really bad experience in high school. I didn't like it. It wasn't, the only fun I had was my friends, that we were just shooting the shit, doing our own thing.
What were the conversations like? So now that you're a teenager, and this is, you have now, your entire life has been shaped by either subjugation has occurred or now being raised in a literal war zone. What were your conversations like as teenagers, and the gravity? Did you guys try to do things like normal teenagers and just, you know, hang out and shoot the shit and talk about whatever and girls and whatnot? Or was it like heavy politics, grand scheme? Where are we at in the world? How can we help? What were those conversations like?
It was really, what can we do to separate ourselves from this community that we're in? I kept my circle very small to this day, and the few friends that I had throughout the whole story, they're still my friends. And the conversation would be, when we graduate high school, what's the best college we can go to? What's the best job we can get? How fast can we learn English? It was a very big one.
So English is the pathway, English in
for
college?
Freedom.
Wow.
Yeah. And then So that's when I was inspired, actually, that's when it started. Okay. One of the soldiers, that his name was Connor, man, he asked me, hey, and he was jokingly saying that. I was in 8th grade. He's like, hey, do you want to be a translator? You look like you know English. And I said, no, I can't. I'm in school.
Yeah.
Like that thought had never come to me until he said it. As soon as he said it, that's when it clicked, and I thought about it, said, I want to be a translator. I really want to be a translator. Because I can get to hang out with these guys more. I swear to God, like I would just walk by and you'd see the Mad V door open and like look inside, like, wow, that's
all
like
the stuff
all
inside.
the stuff inside. Like they got the pill tours on.
Yeah, it is really cool inside
it's
those
so
things,
cool.
right? It's like being inside of a spaceship, right?
Yeah.
You know, and there's like hydraulics inside of them.
Even the Humvees, the dudes had their like helmets on and they just look like they're busy and they're about to go get some. That's when I realized, oh, I need to be a translator. And for me to do that, I need to be really good at English.
So what did that process look like?
I basically taught myself English. And there's a lot of people that in Iraq to this day that speak really good English. I got into a lot of movies, like Eminem, Michael Jackson, like American music, movies. And some people talk to me here and they're like, you don't sound like you're from Iraq with your accent.
Yeah, you don't have an accent.
Yeah, I didn't really work on that. As soon as I started, it just came out. I was very driven by the excellence of being an interpreter and learning English. And that was my motivation.
So you're now in high school. So
Right.
Arabic is written from right to left,
Yep.
and English is written from left to right.
Yep.
I couldn't imagine sitting down and trying to learn Arabic. It is such a foreign concept to me. One, my brain doesn't really wrap around learning or reading the opposite direction. What was that like? So did you have books? Did you have access to the internet? So you said movies and music. Did you learn, conversational English and then eventually learn, literary or written English later on?
So they taught a little bit of English in school.
Okay.
They had a book where the first thing you learn is apple, book, door. The foundation was there. Up to this day, they teach it. That really helped me. Like the ABCD, they teach you all that in school.
Okay.
But access to movies and music, I would just go to the store and buy CDs.
Yeah. So for most people that didn't go to Iraq, there are a lot of the convenience stores or even the little shops that we would allow on base, they would have a lot of like bootlegged movies, right? And so we would catch a lot of the releases of newer movies where someone somewhere across the world would bring like a Sony Handycam into a movie theater and you would watch whatever was releasing in the United States or across the world. We would watch the same movie, but it was from the back, of the movie theater itself. And you'd hear people cough, right? Or somebody would stand up in the middle and walk to go get popcorn and kind of go through this process. And so I remember there was a whole bunch, I think they came in from China or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we had a lot of bootleg movies. Is that where you got yours?
Yep. You just go to the store and you buy movies and music and you just play it on a CD. This is before we had internet. It was challenging. It wasn't easy growing up in Kirkuk. I remember, so this is back when I was in 6th grade. And I want to share this because there's a lot of moments in my life that happened that I feel like it was a miracle and God was looking out for me, that I'm really not supposed to be here. So 6th grade, last period of class, we're back from break and the last period of class is about to start. And my desk was next to the windows. I had told my friend, hey, I'm going to move to the middle. And the last period was English. I was already good at it. I said, I don't need to really pay attention in class. I'm going to move to the middle and take a nap.
You sound like a normal 8th grade. And take a nap? Is that what you said?
So I moved away from the window and my school was wall to wall with the police station. And they had this, I found this out later. They had a very high individual locked up there, Al-Qaeda, and his boys were trying to break him out. So they pull up with this semi truck full of explosives, and it goes off.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like a car bomb. And
I mean, a semi-bomb at this
yeah,
point.
Yeah, like very, very common. And my friend got all messed up from because the windows shattered on
windows blew in.
Yeah. And he broke his nose because he had hit the metal frame of the window.
Yeah, with your big nose, you'd have been screwed.
I swear. And then just chaos erupted, and everybody's running around, and people are crying, kids, and the only thing I could think of is, where's my brother? He's older than me, but I couldn't find him. So I run back home, and as I'm running out of school, going home, like the pieces and sharpnels are just falling off from the sky. It's like it was a huge explosion, and I run back home, and the doors are open, and I see that the curtain had fallen on the stove and was burned up at home, and all the windows are shattered
from the detonation.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And my mom had left running looking for us
to go find you.
Yeah.
So you guys must have like crossed it.
Yeah, that was very, very common. That happened a lot, and we also knew that you're not supposed to hang out in crowded areas because those guys would want to take out mass people at once. And there was one instance where we were at the bazaar, me and my friends just chatting it up, and then we start walking half a mile down the road, and boom, car bomb goes off right where we were. That was very common.
Could you sense that something was going to happen, or could you see or feel? Could you tell when there was Al Qaeda, when there was, a militant group in the area? Could you tell them apart?
I really wasn't in that headspace to kind of look for, compare the baseline to where we learn in the Marine Corps to what's out of the ordinary. I wasn't in that mindset yet. I was just a kid who liked to play soccer, and then going forward, the ambition to become a translator. Then I started practicing, and 2011 is when the U.S. military pulled out, and I was devastated. Because that was my only opportunity out. Because translators would go to America. I had friends that had older brothers or family members. Yeah. They're like, they went to the U.S. How? Well, they were a translator.
We were very close with our translators, and especially when we were in heavy kinetic environments, because they wanted a free and fair Iraq, just like, was the reason why we were there. And they were invested into it. And I know that the United States this wasn't part of my role specifically, but I know the United States and the military did a lot for translators at the time to be able to then come to the United States or bring their families to the United States. And so we pulled out in 2011. Tell me more about that.
That's when I lost all hope, seriously, because there's no way out now. And I love Iraq. I love being a Kurd. I take pride in that. I carry a lot of good memories with me. I don't talk down on it, but I knew I could do better elsewhere. And I knew leaving would help me grow more and become a better person. So when 2011, all over the news, the U.S. pulling out of Iraq, that was very heartbreaking, discouraging, if anything. And I kind of lost my English, really. Like, for a few years, I wasn't motivated enough. I didn't care that much. I was just going through the motions.
How old were you in 2011? 2010, you would have been 21, 20? Math in public again.
No, I was probably 15 or 16.
15, 16.
Yeah. 2000. So when you reach 12th grade, that's when you prepare to graduate high school. So in 2014 and 15 is when I was finishing up school. In northern Iraq, there's this school called the AUIS, American University of Iraq, Sulaymaniyah.
Oh, cool.
So that was my next best thing.
So the United States military is now officially pulled out.
Yep.
The massive forces have left in 2011 from 12 to 15 time, 12 to 14.
14, yeah.
You have your eyes set on this American University as your next best option.
Yep.
Now, why did you feel like your ceiling was limited staying in Iraq?
There was really not much motivation. It's I don't know how to put it to words, but people are not very happy. It's like you can have a nice car, a nice house, you can have money. you're still sad and depressed. Like, it's weird dynamic. And I want to give people some perspective. Like, let's say you and I are in Iraq, we're hanging out and you're having a bad day. And I'm telling you, well, check this out. My day is worse. It's like a weird competition of who's more sad and miserable.
Really?
Yes.
Kind of like a cloud that just kind of hangs over?
Yeah. Not as much, gladly, especially northern Iraq has developed very, very much with the infrastructure, the internet, and the culture. But first of all, the government is really corrupt there. And the word wasta, if you don't have wasta, you're a nobody. Wasta is like, somebody on the inside that can get you in.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not a politician, if you're not in oil, you're a nobody.
So the caste system still almost stayed in place. So you mentioned that was prevalent before the war, and then now that the war had officially kind of moved to its retrograde phase, that kind of insidious almost caste system reintegrated back into society. Interesting.
Yeah.
Even though the Ba'ath Party was no more.
I'm not talking anything negative on anybody, but the Shia took over.
Okay.
Influenced by Iran and the Iranian government. They're just another form of dictators influenced into the Iraqi government, and they had it their own way, and the oil is going places. So you could either go and then fight to be with those people, get into the politics and like the oil and the corruption, which is almost impossible. And I didn't want to even do that. Or you can just live like very under the middle class and just accept a couple $100 a month and just be average. And I couldn't do that. But we were very poor, very, very poor. And my vision to go to the American University was like really big, but I also knew I couldn't go there because it was very expensive. So 2014, I graduate and I apply for the American University because I knew some people that went there like, oh, our teachers are Americans. The language part of the university, it's called APP, Academic Preparatory Program, is actually taught by Native Americans. The school only accept Native Americans.
Wow. Okay.
And interesting note to add, General Petraeus just opened the Petraeus AI lab at the American University right now.
Right now?
Yeah.
No way.
A few weeks ago.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I'm involved with him in it through a different channel, which I'll get into.
Yeah.
The
I can't wait. I can't wait.
So it's a really good school. Very, very good reputation. That was the best thing I could have done for myself during that time. And just the culture and everything. It's like, that's my window to the United States, because I had heard students that go there can potentially get a visa or a scholarship to go to, like, okay, another pathway to America. I apply and I get accepted, and they're like, congratulations, you scored really well on an English placement. We would like to have you. And I just sadly emailed back like, I cannot do it. I just wanted to apply so I can get a free visit to this school. And then
So why couldn't you go?
It was too expensive.
And are student loans a thing? Are there grants and scholarships?
So I ended up going.
Okay, fantastic. Okay.
There's no student loans. There's scholarships really, but you again have to know somebody. And this is one of the other miracles I can say, that I get an email 2 days later. They're like, we will have you. Somebody's willing to pay, but they don't want to disclose their identity.
So wait, so they accepted you.
Yep.
You said, I would love to, but I can't afford it.
Yep.
And then an angel donor comes in and says anonymously, we'll take, okay, go on, tell me more.
So I sent an email, say, I can't make it. They're like, oh, we're sorry, good luck. But then they emailed me back a few days later. Actually, they called me. They said, because you scored well on an English placement and we saw your high school grades, somebody wants to pay for it, but they don't want to disclose their identity. And there's Kurdish cultures. The Commandant's List, one of the books that I read, Warrior's Ethos, talks about warrior cultures. And then each community or culture in Iraq, they had their own little way of doing things. So I can say the Kurds are honor-based culture.
Yeah.
So to accept money from somebody else was really hard to accept.
Yeah.
So I had to like swallow my pride and talk to my parents about it, saying, hey, somebody wants to pay for my tuition. And they said, go ahead. That's an opportunity. Like treat it as a scholarship.
But they're probably like, what are you doing? Say yes, idiot. Right?
So that was just one of the very, very happy moments of my life. This amazing lady that worked at admission, she doesn't work there anymore. She would call me whenever the tuition would be due. She would call me, and it's all cash there. And then I would go to the office, and I'll say this I'll never forget this. She would, hey, shut the door, have a seat. She would give me an envelope full of $100 bills. I swear to God, this is, to me, up to this day, it's like, what? That was a fever dream. She's like, here's your tuition, and there's extra for you. Go pay it. And also send me your screenshot of your grades. Well, I had to maintain a level of grade, but I went through 3 semesters like that, and I loved every single day of it. And that's when my English really got better.
That took off. Right?
Yeah, I had incredible teachers that were Native Americans that taught me English. And one day the news starts picking up that, oh, there's a group of people called the Naqshbandis. They're in Mosul. They're causing some trouble. They're people, and I had turned that off in my own head. Like Al-Qaeda was like there was not much activity, not much car bombs, and I had moved to Sulaymaniyah from Kirkuk. I lived in the dorms for school. And then one day it's Friday, and Fridays are like, it's the weekend in Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
And we were sitting at home. I was in Kirkuk. We were eating lunch. And then my dad's like, oh, shut up. He turns the volume on, and there's this dude fully in black, huge beard. And there's other dudes next to him with RPGs. And then this is inside a mosque. And this is live news. And there's just people like sitting, and you can see the fear in their eyes. And this dude is like, this is Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. We just took over all of Mosul, and we're coming for all of you if you're not going to surrender to the Caliphate, the Islamic Caliphate.
Can you explain the Islamic Caliphate?
Meaning the fundamentals and rules of Islam. You have to give in. You cannot smoke. You can't do anything. You have to grow a beard.
So like the extreme fundamentalists.
Extremes of the extremes. Like even the regular Muslims that were in the government, the Peshmerga, the Iraqi military, they had to also surrender. Regular Muslims were infidels, and this is ISIS. So we were all shocked and very, very concerned. What is this? What's going on? I'm living like a awesome
college student, right?
USD similar. I swear to God.
Yeah, college on the hill, like USD.
Yeah, getting cash. I'm just living it up. And then that's when things started getting a little weird. And I started paying attention more to the news. And my dad's cousin is a very famous general in Iraq, actually. He's Peshmerga, Kurdish general. And he was shot by a sniper. And this guy is famous. Hussein Mansour, you can look him up later. He has a story of him crawling up to a tank, an Iranian tank, just going in there and shooting all of them with a pistol. This dude was a brave man. And the fact that he was on the berm in the front lines looking with his binocular, like, tells you how brave he is. Sure. He was a general, but he was acting like a lance corporal grunt in the front.
Leading from the front.
Yep. And that was very hard for our family. And then I had another cousin, my cousin. He was a young lieutenant. He was in charge of one of the checkpoints in Kirkuk City, people coming in and out. And there was a VBID that pulled up to his checkpoint and blew up and killed him.
So vehicle-borne IED.
Yeah, vehicle-borne IED. Second hit, just constant hits from ISIS. And that's when the U.S. military started showing back up to Iraq. Right. And it got really personal with ISIS because they got really close to Kirkuk, and they actually infiltrated through Kirkuk. One night at 3 a.m., they roll in. This is 2015. They roll in with a Kia truck, like a bunch of them. I don't remember how many. And they take over this one mall in Kirkuk. and they post up on top and they just start sniping people, innocent people.
Why? Just to establish that they were...
Yeah, they're ISIS. They were just causing chaos. That's what they do.
Was there a lot of them, or was there just a few of them with a lot of munitions and a lot of arms? Like what?
They started from Syria. That's where they so Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. They started and they came to Iraq through northwest, took over Mosul fully. Like where you go to sleep and you wake up and you're like, dude, Mosul is controlled by ISIS. Dude, can you believe that? By Al-Qaeda, like a branch of Al-Qaeda. And we know they will peel your skin alive. That's what they're known for. So they were able to push further down. And the fact that they took over Riyadh, Hawija, these are like little subsidies of Kirkuk where I lived, an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I don't want to mix up the timelines. I'm sorry. This is as I'm going to the university, right? And then as this is happening, when I was at my last year of school, and this is to this day, I think about it, there were students that had just come to my school that fled from their villages saying, oh, the Naqshbandi / ISIS are taking over. I'm like, so I'm glad you're here. Did you run away from ISIS? They're like, hell no. We like those guys. We ran away because we're scared that we might get bombed by aircraft. I swear to God. And I'm like sitting next to you in class and we have, like, you could kill me right now. If those guys took over, you would kill me right now. Just so much happened when ISIS became a thing. And
what was the draw to ISIS? I mean, so again, I'm very ignorant to that, right? So I was back in the United States at this point. I had now deployed to Afghanistan. At that time frame, I was in off the coast of Africa fighting Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, and then how they had Al-Shabaab and how they had kind of spread. But what was the draw in Iraq to have what would be considered normal Iraqi citizens to run towards ISIS, vice away from ISIS?
The initial impression fooled a lot of people. When ISIS took over, initially, before people really saw their true color, because they didn't come under the name Al-Qaeda, they came under an Islamic State, which to a lot of Muslims, that can sound very peaceful.
Sure.
So they attracted a lot of people, actually, initially. A lot of people joined them under the message of peace. But then slowly people realized, oh no, these guys are butchering people left and right. So the drive was a new Islamic State that controls and rules. And because the Iraqi people got sick of the government already, the corruption, and that some people were motivated to go join ISIS unaware of what they actually are. People quickly realized, oh no, these are barbaric people they would put people in cages and drown them.
Yeah, I remember seeing those kind of videos.
Yep.
And there was a pilot, I think
Jordanian pilot. They burned him alive. Yeah. Ma'ath Kasasiba was his name. I remember because that really became part of a daily life. Like, oh, ISIS just posted a new video on YouTube, and they would put it on YouTube and Facebook, but they would get shot down really quickly.
As most of you know, getting older hits you in these little ambushes you don't see coming. One day you wake up and the knees sound like you're stepping on a bag of pretzels. Recovery takes longer than the workout itself, and the hairline, well, it starts its own retrograde operation. I've felt all of that, especially after years of wear and tear overseas and in training, which is exactly why I'm obsessed with Bubs Naturals. Not because someone handed me a script, but because it actually helped me feel like I took some ground back. Most people don't realize this, but somewhere in your mid-20s, your body quietly starts producing less collagen every year. And collagen is basically the connective tissue of your life. It keeps your joints moving, your skin healthy, your hair and nails strong. Once it stops, you feel it. Bubs collagen peptides have been a way to rebuild some of what time, and in my case, the Marine Corps, took out of me. My joints hurt less, recovery feels cleaner, and even small things like nails and skin look healthier. It's not magic, it's just replacing what your body stopped making. And it couldn't be easier. I throw 1 scoop into my morning coffee. It dissolves instantly. No grit, no taste, no weird science experiment texture, just coffee that happens to make me feel noticeably better. And what makes Bubs different is the legacy. The brand honors Navy SEAL Glenn "Bub" Doherty, who gave his life in Benghazi. They donate 10% of profits to charity and hold themselves to the highest standards. No fillers, no sugar. NSF certified for sport, Whole30 approved, and named Best Collagen of 2024 by Health.com. Live better longer. For a limited time only, our listeners are getting 20% off at Bubs Naturals by using the code COMBAT at checkout. Just head to bubsnaturals.com and use the code COMBAT and you're all set. When they ask you where you heard about them, please tell them Combat Story. It really supports the show and helps us bring these conversations to you. And now, back to our show.
Seeing them closely is when they took over that mall in Kirkuk and started just sniping people. And I was playing soccer with my friends and I could hear the gunshots. The CTG, the counterterrorism group, they're Kurdish special operation forces, great dudes, were trying to basically bomb them out. They had to burn the whole mall down. And me being the little shithead kid, I had to go there the next day.
Naturally, you have to see it, right? Yeah, I guess
I had to sneak up and take pictures. But then, yeah, while this is going on, one night I was home alone. My parents had gone to Sulaymaniyah to see my dad's family, and ISIS had gotten really close to the border of Kirkuk, and my dad was far, so he calls me. And this was they would record live videos and post it and tell people, hey, we're coming for you. And this one was legit. They had a bunch of V-beds lined up on the border. They're like, we're coming into Kirkuk tonight. And that was a very famous battle, actually. The Kurds stopped them, the Peshmerga. So my dad is like, all right, here's the deal. This was a very simple conversation. I was playing my GTA on PS2. It's like
you're playing Grand Theft Auto, as you said?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So playing video games, I get it. I'm with you.
Yeah. He's like, hey, dude, just in case they get in, I want you, here's the plan. Like, my friend is going to come pick you up. You're going to meet him somewhere. He's going to come pick you up. He's going to drive you to the checkpoint. I'll come pick you up just in case if these shitheads make it through. He's like, okay, Dad, cool. Love you too. I'll see you. Hopefully they don't come through. That was normal.
Like, the fact that that is a normal conversation for a kid going through college, right? For growing up in a place like this is absolutely, it's just like mind numbing to think, like how, your childhood and your youth just robbed from you because of terrorism, because of this constant conflict, right? And America had their own part in it. I understand that. My God, it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah. So, I get a phone call as I'm doing homework, and I'm still at school. Get a phone call from a friend of mine. His uncle worked at the airport in Erbil, northern Iraq, as the Americans are coming in. Said, hey, dude, my uncle got this phone number of a contracting company that are looking for interpreters. Are you interested? Dude, I said, yeah, this is all I've been working for. And so I called the number. And it was a point of contact between the Americans and the locals. They were trying to recruit people. This dude's like, dude, we already have 1,000 applicants. I am not. He was an asshole on the phone. He's like, I have 1,000.
Was he American or was
no?
He
was Kurdish.
Oh, no kidding.
He was working with the contracting company.
But a huge resistance, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Right? Because if there's 1,000 applicants with
he had it. And I called him at midnight. I was like, I'm getting this job.
Yeah.
One way or another. He said, please give me a chance. You wouldn't want to miss out on me. I speak really good English. I go to the American school. I volunteer, yada, yada. I just painted a cool picture. He's like, I'll give you one chance. So I go and take the test. I drive up north. I go to this place that some contractors had set up. It was like a lot of screening just to get inside the examination room and fingerprints and like, I took the test. And this is also, again, like one of those things that just wasn't supposed to happen. I take the test and they lose my test later. A few months later, they're like, we can't find it. We don't know what you scored. So I had to do it again. I pass. I go through medical check. They're like, okay, we're ready to take you, but do you understand that this is a very dangerous job? And I had to give up my scholarship. Going through the lady that was between me and the donor, she was like, yes, we support you. If you want to quit school and go do that, we support you. But
Wow.
yeah, that's a path for America. That's what the donor had told her. That's a path for America. Go do that. I never know who this person is up to this day.
You've never met the donor?
Never
have.
ever.
I was going to ask you that, but I
don't even know their name. And she wouldn't tell me.
Wow.
Yeah. And I lied to my parents. They were in a lot of debt as well. And there was a lot of drive in me to just go do it. I lied to them. I said, I'm going to translate for truck drivers that are bringing stuff into the American checkpoint at the airport. No, that wasn't it. I get dropped off at the airport gate. I get picked up by a Land Cruiser and to go to the staging area. And this is the contractors. They're like, your team will come pick you up. And I had no idea who am I going to be working with. All I knew was I'm going to be a translator and it's going to be dangerous. So the 3 Land Cruisers pull up, the layers of dust all over their vehicle. And this dude gets out. This was the Army. So this is the first people I worked with. They were 101st Airborne. Great dudes. Love those guys. They like, are you the Terp? Like, yes, sir. And I'm like, I had a college sweat top on. Like, I was like, and my backpack.
You're like, you're going to class.
I swear to God. I'm like, is this a cool field trip?
Oh my God. And these guys pull up and
they're just dirty people, like dusty and just dipping, hate their lives. They're like, all right, hop in. We're going to KSB. And I didn't want to like sound like an idiot. I wanted to like be the best version of myself.
Sure.
Like, awesome. So the whole drive, I'm like just Googling KSB, like nothing. Like, what the hell is KSB? So we're driving off. We leave Erbil and we get on the road and I see the exit sign, Mosul. We didn't go straight to Mosul. So this was 101st Artillery Brigade that I was attached to at first. My first experience as a translator, and I loved every second of it. This is what I want. For the past 10 years or 15 years, this is what I've wanted, and I'm here. So what's next? Yeah, we get to base, and KSB was Karasor Base. It was a name they had assigned to their little PA, they call it. It was just, we drive it in the desert, and then it's all dusty. Next thing you know, things are clearing up. It's a huge army outpost that had like 6 guns, the M777 howitzers.
Howitzers, yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, we don't need anything from you right now. Here's your little hooch where you're going to be staying. The commander is going to have meetings in the next few days, and you're going to go with him. And Lieutenant Colonel Keane, I'll never forget him, and I need to track him down and talk to him and thank him. He was the first person that wrote me a recommendation letter that helped my case later.
So Lieutenant Colonel
Keane.
Keane, K-E-E-N?
K-E-A-N.
K-E-A-N?
Yeah.
And what unit?
101st Airborne.
101st Airborne,
Yeah.
And it was an artillery battery
Yes.
within it?
Yes.
Lieutenant Colonel Keane, if you're out there and you hear this thing, we want to...
Thank you.
Let us know if you guys find him in the chat or in the comments, or shoot us an email. We'll see if we can't make sure that we get in contact.
Yep. So I was a local national interpreter, so I'm still an Iraqi citizen, and you can see how a lot of these guys, it's their first deployment and they don't really know what's going on. Like, oh, we just have a random Iraqi on our base. So like I had to build that trust.
Okay. How did you do that?
I was just myself. Hey, this is my story. This is who I am. I'm here. This is what I've always wanted to do. And I always found that common, I guess, energy, I say, between me and those young soldiers that we're both here for the same reasons. Like, we love what we're doing and we want to be here. And it was also interesting to them that they just met someone that speaks their language and can paint the picture and give the story of the country in their own language, that not everybody is a bad guy as well. So it was I really bonded with those guys. Whenever I didn't have anything going on. So you had the artillery guys, and then you had they called them the Cow Scouts, the Army Sec 4 guys that had the posts manned, and I would just walk out of my hooch, and because I was closer to the ECP, they call it the entry control point.
Control point, okay.
Yeah, I would just go and hang out with those guys, shoot the shit, smoke cigarettes.
Okay, did you smoke American cigarettes?
American
or you smoke
cigarettes.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
What were some of the Iraqi cigarettes that we talked about? I know there's like
Pine.
What's that?
Pines,
Miami,
and then SA, and just Parliament.
Yeah, okay. I remember those.
Yeah,
I remember those.
yeah.
Okay, and so you'd smoke. Did you bum American cigarettes from them?
Yeah,
or
they would get, and then I would whenever I would like go off base or go to the store, I would come back with like a carton of cigarettes, like my Iraqi made or Turkish made Marlboros, and those guys loved it.
Oh man! So were there markets around the area? So when we've worked with interpreters, they had access to like fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, sometimes chicken, sometimes we would get lamb, and they would bring that back for us. Did you ever do anything like that?
Absolutely.
Oh
Yeah.
man, we'd have been best friends if we were overseas.
It was the best thing to do, and I would show up with food, and these guys would get so happy because the base that I was on, my first assignment was really out of middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you said, I mean, you're just like out in this desert of dust and dust, and like this kind of city that we create out of nothing.
Yep, barely had any access. So then it started picking up for me. They get a knock on the door. Here's a helmet. Here's a body armor. We're going out on KLEs, key leader engagement.
Key leader engagement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meetings with higher ups. And then I just suddenly find myself in a room with really high ranking officers in the Kurdish military and the US military, and everybody's looking at me. I'm like, holy shit, I have a very important job.
Yeah.
Holy shit, this man just explained the scheme and maneuver of how they're going to take over this village and what kind of support they need from the artillery. And I'm translating that. That's awesome. My job is very important. These guys are counting on me. They're like, yeah. So, and the lieutenant colonel, like going like further, like becoming a Marine and seeing how hard it is to talk to a lieutenant colonel or colonel, how like the chain of command. It's like, wow, I had a really important...
You're 19.
Yeah.
Having a conversation with a lieutenant colonel or a full bird colonel discussing literal battle plans.
Yes.
So was there like a learning curve for you? Because I know that you wanted to be a translator for a long time. Was there training to become a translator? Nope. Understanding, what we use for operational terms, the lingo, the language? Or is it just like, hey, I'm going to pitch my thing and you need to do your best to be able to explain... Wow.
Yep. There was no training. You're just thrown out there. But what I did, I really took it seriously, and I knew how sensitive it was. So if you said something I didn't understand, I would say, hey, do you mind explaining that in a different way? What do you mean? Battery, Charlie battery.
Charlie battery. Yeah, exactly.
Can you tell me?
How many guns is that?
Exactly. Yeah. So I would break it down. I would try to understand, but it didn't take me long. I picked it up really quick. I had like a note taking gear, and I would just put down important stuff, and I started picking up. I started learning more. Like, wow, this is awesome. Okay, so to me, it gave me a better picture of what's going on in Mosul and who is where and what's my purpose and what's the unit's purpose right now. Basically, the artillery was laying hate on the ground to the Iraqi forces or the Peshmerga to start. So I'm still in the Kurdish territories. Okay. Because the Peshmerga fought ISIS up to a point, and then they couldn't cross it. That's where the Iraqis would take over. Okay. Because remember the region, the draw line, people have different authorities. So
the Kurds could only fight so far. Yep. Then they had to turn it over to the Iraqi government. Yep. Of which was probably fighting a lot of internal strife because of ISIS coming in and what you mentioned, a lot of the authoritarianism, a lot of people defecting, I would imagine, because they liked the idea of it. Did they know, or was it pretty clear at that point that ISIS was not good for anybody? Yep. Okay.
It was very clear that we have the same enemy. And the Americans were kind of like the middle ground between the Iraqis and the Kurds. And that's when my job was also I realized it's very critical because I spoke both languages. I'm Kurdish and I spoke fluent Arabic. So I translated Kurdish to the Peshmerga guys, and then we would push across the KDL, Kurdish defensive lines, and oh shit, now I'm translating Arabic. Now I have to kind of like put a different mask on.
Oh my gosh. And culturally, right?
Yeah.
Because they operate independent of one another. So all the nuances inside between being a Kurd, between being Iraqi, and then also having to speak English.
Yep.
Go on.
A lot of the Iraqis are curious. They will ask you 2,000 questions. They don't care. They're the most straightforward / rude people that will like, why are you the way you are? What are you doing? Like, they don't care about feelings. And when they see, and to Iraqis, like interacting with an American is like, wow, like I'm talking to an American. So when they see that there's an Iraqi that's on their side,
okay,
they're interested. Like, so who are you? So why are you a translator? What's your background? Where do your parents come from? So I had to like take a lot of that weird heat and like kind of channel it somewhere else and just focus on my job.
So would they pass judgment onto you
Yep.
if you said that you were Kurd?
Yes, absolutely.
So if you were to, so you present as Iraqi,
Yep.
you do not have an accent in Arabic that would identify you as a Kurd. Did you
Yep.
have to find that you'd have to hide the fact that you were a Kurd?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes. Well, and also a lot of people can work with Americans, like the national force, like Iraqis, and they could also be friends with the bad guy.
Yeah.
So as much information they can pull from either the colonel or the terp, they can also give it to their friend. So it's like, it was a weird game. So we move out of that base, we push further, we go to a different, like we pack up and we get the buses come in, soldiers get in these buses, and next thing you know, I am in the front of the convoy in a Land Cruiser, and there's 6 to 7 buses behind me and like 6 semi-trucks with this huge howitzers on top of them.
Oh, yeah.
And we're driving across the KCL or the KDL to go establish in the Iraqi territory now. Now I find myself at the checkpoint talking to these angry Iraqis, like, who the fuck are you? What's going on here? It was all on me. The word wasn't passed along properly that Americans are coming through. So that was a whole shit show.
So you have this like Mad Max looking convoy,
Yep.
and you're showing up to the border, and you're 19 years old.
I swear to God.
And you are it. You were like,
that's it.
hey, I know how this looks.
I am chain smoking at the checkpoint. I'm like, this is interesting. I loved it. I loved just being there.
You're it,
that.
man. You're in the breach. That's the hard thing.
Yep.
I think for a lot of people to understand is, are you happy to go to war? Are you happy? No, what we are is we're getting to do our job. We're getting to be of value. And we're not just crunching numbers somewhere. We're like, it's this chaotic world and this weird space, and we're right there doing our best to make our way through it. And it's something that I think that you and I can identify with, or I can identify with you on, is I know it's tough and the mixed emotions of everything, but man, to have all of your senses and all of your training and all of your entire life's work matter for moments like at that checkpoint.
Yep. It motivated me even more, because I'm like, well, I'm going to push this force through the checkpoint. They're going to establish, and they're going to send rounds to clear the way for the forces to get in. That's a day closer to Mosul. We get up there, we establish, and then the 101st, I made great friends, which I talk to this day with those guys. They switch over, they get replaced by 82nd Airborne.
Mm-hmm.
So they're getting ready. And that was the first time I experienced that. I'm like, wow, I just made friends with all these guys. We trust each other. When we were on top of this is the Battle of Bashika, right before Mosul, we were on the hill. We were supporting the Peshmerga, sending rounds down to the city. It was a very, very good time. We bonded together, all of us, the artillery guys, me, the Peshmerga guys down in the city, because We were there. We watched the whole thing happen. The Peshmerga went in, cleared the city. We saw helicopters. Like it was as real as it gets. We would go on patrols, and when they got ready to leave, it was such a, how do I put it? It was sad, but at the same time, like, I'm sad you're leaving, but I saw, because those guys do 9 months deployments. Like, I saw how much you were struggling here. Some guys were crying. They would come to my hooch and they would cry. And then I was their like best friend. We would smoke together, would smoke cigars together. And watching you leave, I'm like, they're like, Mike, I don't know if I'll ever see you again.
There's
like,
a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guilt on our part.
Yep.
We have done our part. We've done our thing. And I may never come back here. And then there's also survivor's guilt of saying that you have to stay and you can't come with me. Tell me more about those friendships.
It was, I felt very accepted and connected to those guys. I wouldn't even go home. They would give us like a few days a month, which was a risk, but I also was like, I'm having fun here. I don't want to go home.
I'm with my boys.
I swear. I'm like, This is what I wanted. And so those guys leave and a new unit takes over, and they leave good word that like the CO and the first sergeant, they're like, this is our guy. Like, you can go to him for anything. And then the 82nd, we pick up again, and then we go to Mosul. We go to the east side of Mosul. It had just been cleared. We establish again. And this is where few things happened that was, I'm going to share it. One of them was that, we had a lot of incoming mortar rounds from ISIS. And you'd be in a hooch at 2 a.m. in the morning and you hear screams incoming and sirens are going off. So you're just storming out of the tent. And
scrambling to,
Yep.
Did you guys have like a hardened concrete?
Yeah, we had the U-shaped bunkers,
Yep.
and we'd go hide under that. And one of the days, Staff Sergeant Saddam, he's out, a great friend of mine. He's been retired for a while. I was in the tent. There was a convoy that had gone out. So it was us, the artillery, and we had the Calf Scout guys. They were kind of separate from us. They did their own thing. They had gone out on a convoy, and I'm in my sleep. Imagine someone waking you up from your sleep. It's like, wake up. Don't say anything. Don't tell the Iraqis, but we just lost a guy. So the army went out on a patrol. It was a convoy. They pull over, and the lieutenant steps out, Lieutenant Lee, and he steps on an IED. Like, he stepped out to take a piss, and he stepped on an IED, and it like cut him in half. So Saddam woke me up. He's like, they're going to take him home right now, or evac him, because they had brought the body back to base. And that was I don't even know how to put it. It was the first time seeing something like that. It was, the helicopter comes in, the Black Hawk, they load him up. And as he's taken off, his guys take a knee for him. And as the helicopter is going away, and I'm just like clueless. I mean, not clue. I know what happened, but I'm like, holy shit. They just said goodbye to their guy, like their leader, their lieutenant. And that was very painful to watch. Like, we're part of this, or I'm part of this thing that's way bigger than myself. And I'm playing like really, really tiny portion of it. And people are actually getting hurt. And a few months goes by, I go on leave. It was hard to just exit the base and leave. So I would get on a helicopter. They would take me to the airport. And then,
well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like a celebrity at that point. That's cool.
Yeah. I would like get on a roster if there's like a helicopter ride. And if not, we had a guy that would come on base. We would pay him, and then he would bring us cigarettes, like all kinds of stuff. Or I could just get in his car.
Sure.
He would drive me off, because the further we got, the Kurds were behind us. So it was safe for me I get back to base after leave, and we had multiple gates. I call the sergeant of the guard, let's say, and I say, hey, I'm walking in through the southern gate. Be aware, it's me. I'm wearing such and such. He's like, you're good, bro. Just walk through. I got you. He had passed the word, but somewhat the word wasn't passed. And then you had, I can't remember his name, the guy who was in the tower. He shot me, and he missed.
Wait, what?
I swear to God.
Wait, but you have to go into this.
I walk in and you asked me a question. You said, did you feel something was wrong or did you feel fear? I think I felt it there. I walked through and I was like, I'm not supposed to be walking. It was there was just sea wire.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the gates. I'm walking in and I swear to God, I can see the reflection in the tower. And then I hear a round and then it just lands in front of me, like hits the ground, like a rock skips and goes up and down. Like I just got fucking shot at. And my guy missed. Thank God he missed.
We'll say it was a warning shot.
Probably was a warning shot. Yeah,
Sure.
like really, I just froze. I just, hey, dude, this is like, I get on the phone, call, and he's screaming at him already. He's like, dude, that's fucking Mike. That's the Terp. And then, yeah, that it was bad that he got in trouble. And we were all friends. I was very close with that.
Oh my gosh.
With those guys on the
Did you ever meet him? I don't need his name.
Yeah.
Did he ever apologize?
Yeah, he did. He was actually like one of the guys that I would talk to on a daily. And he apologized. They were like, Mike, we're gonna what do you want? I'm like, dude, no, I love you, bro. Like, you're good. That shit, I should have communicated better, maybe. Like, whatever, shit happens. But that was a little like, okay, like this is times whatever that I get close, and God's like, nope. I got you. I have something else for you. And then during that time we would that's when I learned about a chaplain. I would go out on patrols with the Army security guys, and we'd have a chaplain with us, and we'd have like boxes of all kinds of goodies, and we'd just go knock on doors and give it to kids. That was fun to do. And that's when the western side of Mosul started picking up. It was really bad. I got to I got to pull a lanyard on one of the howitzers on a real fire mission.
What?
Yeah. So that I called my company. I got to a point where things got a little slow. I called my contracting company.
So you're a contractor technically, and you're a conduit to the United States military through this contracting company.
Yep. And they're getting paid through the Department of War now, DOD then. I called them. I said, I want more action.
Jesus. God, you were 19. You're acting maybe 20 at this point. Yeah, probably. You were acting like a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
So you call them up and you say,
I said, hey, I want more action. I love these guys, but I want to be in the front. They're like, well, first of all, you're too young for that, but we could probably use you because you speak Arabic. How about this? There's a team in Kirkuk where now they're going to pull me out of outskirts of Mosul, bring me back to Kirkuk. Like, there's a team in Kirkuk. They're special people. They go out at night and you could die. Like,
which is the best thing you can say to a 20-year-old.
That's all I needed to hear.
Oh my God. They're probably trying to warn you, and you're like, yeah,
I'll take it.
Oh my God.
They were when I was going through the initial hiring process, they were like, hey, if there's potential assignments that would come up with people that are dangerous, you could die. So like a lot of people would choose the easier side. It's like, she said, we have to talk to them first. They don't just allow, and you're also a local national, because most of the Terps that worked with those guys were already U.S. citizens.
I see. There's security reasons inside of that.
Yeah, TSs, which I understand. They're like, we'll talk to them and see if they can use you for certain things. They're like, yep, they'll take you, pack your bags, meet back up at the airport. Well, there was a whole process to pull me out of Mosul and bring me back to Kirkuk. And I go to the base in Kirkuk.
And this is where you're from originally.
Exactly. Now I had to think about it, because I'm like, okay, well, I'm coming back to where my parents live, 15 minutes from the base. And that Kirkuk, and that base specifically, wasn't a huge base. It was a small MARSOC team. And these guys just roll out in civilian like shirts and Land Cruisers, and nobody even knows who they are. So there's no like huge presence in Kirkuk. This is like 2017 now. Like, this is not the invasion era where
we're like massive Humvees, we're all armored up, whatever. And so you said this was a MARSOC team?
Yep. This is like all hush hush. So I get there, and immediately I could sense the vibe. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know MARSOC. I didn't know anything. I had just heard briefly, Navy SEALs, special operations. That was my knowledge of special operations. So I see these guys walking around, and I had gotten used to calling people by their ranks when I worked with the Army, like sergeant, sir, just out of respect. Nobody made me. And then I see just guys walking around and dressed like us. They're like, dude, drop that sir shit or sergeant shit and just call me Nate. And then Nate, he's like a big brother to me. This guy I love Nate. Nate, I love you. If you can hear this. And Nate is like, all right, have a seat. He's like, all right, so here's the deal. He didn't say we're Marine, nothing. I found that out by myself. I was like, are you guys recon? They're like, no, we're not recon. We're MARSOC. So I did my own research.
My heart is dying a little bit on the inside right now.
Because I looked up Marines special and recon popped. I was like, are you guys recon?
I appreciate that. I got love for my MARSOC brothers.
So Nate is like, all right, here's the deal. Here are the rules. First of all, we're going to watch you for a few weeks, see how you do. We're performing constantly. We have a lot going on. We want to see what you do for 2 weeks. And these are the rules of this little compound, very small compound. And that compound, a few months before I showed up, and before that team showed up, they got attacked by ISIS. Like a few ISIS dudes like snuck up to the gate and like started throwing frags across the wall, and they were like fresh. These guys just got here. They're like, we're not fucking around. Like, our security is like, and you're local. We would love to trust you. You're going to work with us. So here's the rules. 2 weeks went by. They loved me. Great guys. We started working together. We started going out on ops. 2017. And now I'm in my city. I'm close to my family. And so the people that these guys are working with, the local nationals, they're all native to Kirkuk, officers, generals. And so I had to be very careful. We would talk, and they would mention names of high individuals in the government that I know of. I've seen on the TV. I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to be talking to these people. So we start training. They assigned me to the element that was training the Peshmerga and the intelligence guys. So I got to do a lot of cool stuff with those guys. We trained the Peshmerga from like CQB, CQC, intelligence,
close quarters battle and close quarters combat.
Yep. We didn't really do a lot of gun on gun, high level engagements when I was with MARSOC, but I got to do some cool convoys. I was involved in like really important meetings that had a lot of impact. And
that's a lot of their mission set, right? Is to be able to help the Peshmerga, right? To be able to train them, to be able to work with them on, combined arms, right? And being able to bring forth the full bear of the firepower they have at hand. I mean, that's running right in line with their primary mission set.
So, and I was I think I was the only one that spoke Arabic, but they didn't need much Arabic there. They're like, okay, we have a mission. We have to drive to Key West. That was a huge base that was northwest. We're going to go meet up with the SEALs and Canadian Special Operations. We're going to participate in this operation. And they only sent one element of the team. And I was lucky to be chosen. Like, you're going. Like,
wow.
Hell yeah.
Handpicked,
Yeah, they're like, you're going with us. And I get to ride in a first Vic in the front seat. And we're driving through all kinds of checkpoints, Iraqis, Shia militias, and I'm just the guy just taking all the like shit and hit from like the Shias, like, oh, fuck you, fuck the American. I'm like, shut the fuck up. And I just shut the door and like, just roll through. These guys ain't shit. They're not doing shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the dynamic, that's what's so interesting to me, because again, I'm the dude in the back of the convoy being like, dude, what is going on? Exactly. Right. And you're out there like just solving the problems. Okay. So now explain a little bit more of the Sunni Shia relationship at this time frame and how you had to be able to navigate that.
Basically the Shia was in charge of the government. ISIS, they're Sunnis. So the Sunni part of Iraq may disagree with ISIS, but somewhat they're like, well, we got the Sunnis trying to take over. So the Sunnis and Shia had already had a lot of beef within each other. And then you have the Kurds on the side, like, dude, leave me alone. This is my own territory. Do your own shit. And then just going through the checkpoints, they're like, who are you? Or are you Kurdish? Are you Sunni? Like, who are these guys?
And
like,
how you answer affects the entire.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. I have lied so many times. They would bring me a log at the checkpoint. And they're like, okay, in order for us to let you go, you have to write the commander's name and a phone number. I'm like, you got it. Spider-Man. Batman. I swear to God, he can't read it. I'm like, that's his name.
It's Batman. Call him on the bat phone.
This is the Batmobile. It was like a very good and anxiety and stress.
Oh my God.
It was good. I was at my peak. And we meet up with the SEALs. We consolidated this big base, Key West. We prepared to go out. And we're all rolling. We're at this berm. We are posted up. You got snipers. You got 50 cals. You got guys that are trying to throw the Puma up. And then there was some Shia militia guys walking around because that was the Iraqi territories. We were closely working with the CTS, Counterterrorism Services. This is the Iraqi great dudes. These guys, awesome people, trustworthy. We work with them closely. They love Americans. The U.S. trains them and equips them like heavy. So we have 40 mic launchers. Everything is like ready, set. We're waiting on a green light from the president of Iraq to say, you guys can push. So you have the MARSOC sniper and the Navy SEAL sniper. They're like taking pop shots. Oh, he just peeked, pop. And we had the Puma watching. There was like this little compound that it was an unfinished Iraqi building. It didn't have any ceiling yet. So you could see in the pictures like, oh, this motherfucker is like walking around, running across the corner, like pop, drop, pop, drop. Like these dudes are just dropping bodies.
So using drones to confirm sniper shots.
Yep.
Wow.
You had the snipers, spotters, and you have me just turping. I had no helmet on. I had my body armor. I had a schmog. Pop shots are going off. And then you have this one Iraqi dude that ran across. It's like, hey, mutarjim, means like terp. There's a V-bit driving. How did he get eyes on it? I don't know. First, nobody was able to see it. He might have gotten a radio call or something. And I was like, guys, heads up, there's a V-bit. And then it was actually real. Like we started noticing this huge black Mad Max just like going at us like 1,000 miles an hour, and just hell broke loose. Like you got 50 cals, 40 mics. What? Everybody just started empty.
And so you're the guy, right? Yeah. So this Iraqi national comes up to you, yells this to you, and then you convey it.
Yell it out. Yep, in English.
And then these guys get up on their guns.
And then they start looking and they're like, oh shit, is that him driving at us? I'm like, yeah. And I'm recording and I'm smoking a cigarette.
Of course you are.
Just terping, I swear to God. And then everybody just starts laying hate. The freaking Jav goes off.
So they shoot a javelin at it?
Yep. It was the most awesome thing. I don't really remember details, but the V-bit got disarmed, and this motherfucker managed to crawl out and just crawl. And then the JTAC called in a
9-line or an airstrike.
Airstrike, and then just kaboom. That shit was.
How big was
awesome.
the explosion?
It was huge.
Wow. So it actually was a V-bid too.
Yeah, it was a huge.
Like a semi-truck?
No, it was like, so what they did, ISIS, they would bring a huge like truck and they would like weld big pieces of metal to protect it from rounds. So that shit looked really scary. Or they'll make.
So it was like straight up Mad Max.
Yeah.
Wow.
That goes off, and then we kind of had to keep the posture going for a little bit. We stayed there that night on the berm, and then we started pushing in the morning. Wow. So this is the Zawiya village, right next to the lower Zab River. We are pushing in, and like the CTS were in front because the mission was advise and assist.
Absolutely.
Really wasn't like
MARSOC and SEALs aren't supposed to be door kicking at this point. This is an Iraqi-led mission.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we're like right behind them as they're going in, and I got to patrol behind an Iraqi tank. It was the Abrams. It was me and Nate. Nate, my mentor now, my big brother.
Good.
He and I were just patrolling behind the tank as it's going in, and then he's like, all right, we're gonna need to post up in the house to kind of get our guns set up and start recon, and this is what kind of really hit me as well, seeing that the fight firsthand. When we went inside this house, the Iraqis had cleared it and our EOD cleared it. We had a guy with us. He was from the Iraqi CTS. He had known people from that village. He had heard the stories of when ISIS initially took over and what had happened to him. We went in, and I couldn't keep my hands to myself. Like, there was a photo album on the floor that I picked up, and I was going through the pictures of the family that had lived there. Yeah. And as it was like a movie, like I'm going through these pictures and this guy is just talking. I didn't even ask him. He was just telling the stories. Like, they had been recently married and they had a child. And as I'm going, I swear to God, he's like, they were all slaughtered by ISIS. And you could see hair laying all over the place, because what they would do is when they would get ready to give up ISIS, some of them would go off, like become suicidal, and some of them would just shave and try to blend in with people that are trying to escape, because those guys, you were forced to get your beard growing. And I had found the guy's bachelor's degree, copy of his bachelor. He's a petroleum engineer. So that was really touching.
And they were all killed by ISIS.
All of them. Yeah, there's blood all over the house. It was just horrible. And then pushing forward, we kind of finished Zawiya. There was a lot that was going on there. That's when I met the SEALs for the first time, not knowing these guys will take over later. I bring him up because there's a lot of individuals in those teams that really were part of my story and me being successful. We push further. We finish the up. We take a few pop shots. And then we come back to Kirkuk. Training continues. We come back to Kirkuk. There's word that came up from higher. Okay, the MARSOC needs to relocate to a different location, and the Navy SEALs are taking over Kirkuk. And that was another one of the moments where these guys are all Marine. I just made my best friends here and with this team. And the SEALs take over. During that transition.
And you stayed?
Yes.
Okay.
But you couldn't leave. You couldn't go where the team went because the contracting company had assigned you to that location.
So a specific location, not a specific team.
Yep. Yeah. And they were getting ready to go home, the Marines.
Okay.
Before I get into that, so this compound that I'm on with MSOD, small compound.
The Marine Special Operations team?
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's just us. And then you had next door to us was Italian Special Operations.
Hey.
Loved those guys. They had their own pizza.
Yeah, of course they did.
It was
man.
Awesome.
Way to follow the stereotypes, Italians. Yeah.
It was awesome. So those guys, it was just us and them in the Peshmerga, right?
Wow.
So the Kurds had pushed ISIS back, and they had claimed some land and territories. So the Iraqi government was like, we want those areas back to our control. But the Battle of Mosul is still ongoing. So we're partnered with the Kurds. And this is when we worked with a lot of we formed, and I'm incredibly proud to be part of it, saw it on firsthand. We formed a Kurdish force, the Commandos.
Really?
Yes. Like me, I'm a nobody here, but the team had worked with the Peshmerga generals, and they found a few guys, and there was this one guy, I have to mention him, Acom. He's not here with us anymore. Everybody loved this guy. This guy was a Terp back in his days, and he was given a green card, and he visited America a few times, but he's like, I'm going back to Kurdistan. I'm gonna continue the fight. So we worked with him very closely, incredible dude. and we formed the commandos.
Okay, so this gentleman, Kurdish, similar to yourself, got a green card. Was an interpreter. Got a green card, came to the United States, and then I'm sure that as Iraq kind of deteriorated, decided that he wanted to go back and fight for his country. And then went back. And that's where you met him. So did you have a lot of connection between the two of you as far as having a very similar kind of background?
It wasn't, we were really great friends, but it wasn't like, we didn't talk about it. It was like, we were focused on the mission. And he was like, to me, he was like like you, he's like an older brother. Like I just looked up to him.
Yeah, he's like the pinnacle, right? And again, but like to see some of yourself in someone like that, God, that must have been inspiring.
So we form them. The teams fund, equipped, let's go out on ops. Before the whole VBIC thing, things are just popping up in my head as I speak.
This is great. This is fantastic.
We go on a FLOT mission, the forward line of troops. And what we're doing is we're helping the commandos to collect. We're sending out Pumas, and the sniper guys are in the spotter. They're looking out, just collecting. There's a small little compound, like probably a mile. Don't even know if I'm being accurate, but you could see it. You could see it close enough to see it, but not close enough to walk up to it. And that was the first time I had taken a mortar round very close to me. And then I was with the MSOT team, and incredible people. I love those guys. We started getting mortar rounds, and one of them landed, and it was like kaboom, and I see smoke. I'm like, what just happened? Like, get everybody into the fucking truck. It's a fucking, we just getting hit by mortars.
And they're pretty accurate once the first one goes.
We got like 4 or 5 of them, and I got in the MADV, and Sam was in front. He's like, is this your first experience getting hit like this close? Yeah.
I like how he's like the old war dog. First time, huh?
First time. And this guy, war dog, already amputated leg, and he's still in.
What?
Yes.
What? Okay, you're gonna have to tell me these guys' last names after the show.
Absolutely.
And just give a shout out. What was his first name? You said Sam?
Sam, yes.
All right, Sam.
War dog, absolutely. War dog. He's like, haha. And then Adam comes over the radio. He's out now. He's like, I need Mike. And Sam's like, you good?
This mortar attack still going on. You're like, dude, well, I gotta be.
I'm good. Like it was hot as shit. I just get out and I go translate for the commandos, and the MARSOC guys had set up 81s, and we flatted those guys out. And I love that I was able to pull security with these guys. Like we had the Crow system, and then we had the little joystick, and then me and Sam would just rotate. He would take a nap, and I would just loved it. And I would take a nap, give it to him. I was part of the team. Going back to when the Iraqis are like, we want these lands back from the Peshmerga, and it's just us, the MARSOC and the Italians. And my family had lived there in Kirkuk. Kirkuk is controlled right now by the Kurds. Not now, but then, 2017. I get a phone call. This is, pause. I'm going to continue what I was saying right now. Adam, the team chief, is like, hey, call your family. Tell them to leave right now. Tell them to leave the city right now. Because we're Kurdish, and the Kurds are in charge, but they're not about to not be anymore. He's like, look at this. We had ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. It's an airplane that's looking over. He's like, dude, they're posted up with all their up-armored trucks. They're coming into Kirkuk, the Iraqis, and they're going to run the Kurds over. But we have a common enemy. What's going on? Like, they want their land back. Tell your family to leave. Jesus. Whoever you love, tell them to leave, but we need you to stay here. We're like, fuck y'all, stay here. I'm not going anywhere. So we had the Kurdish general that was next door to us, and we were having conversations like, we have to stand down and withdraw. We're sorry to leave you guys here, but we have to go. We're like, yeah, we get it, but we'll take a bullet for you if you stay.
So the Kurdish general is telling the Marines and you that they have to leave.
Yep.
So I have a question for you. Did the Iraqi generals, did the Iraqi, brass, did they have a relationship with you as well because they understood where you came from? So like when, obviously you work for the Marines at this point, did they pull you aside and ever like, hey,
Yep.
what was that?
I was going to get to that.
Okay, perfect.
I'm glad you reminded me. So I didn't really believe this when it was the Kurd in me, like, oh, Kurds are not going anywhere. Like, we're going to be here. Like, because Kirkuk was a very, like, it was very divine for Kurds. Like, we fought for the city. We want to stay here. And we're like, nobody's going anywhere.
You died for it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, so Adam's like, everybody, like, go back to your rooms. We're waiting to see what's going to happen. And I went to my room, and an hour later I get knocking on the door, and we had a contractor on base that worked with us. Who's a very great guy. He's like, you ready to welcome the Iraqis? He said it sarcastically, but he was mad. I was like, what's going on? He's like, let's go. We go on top of the towers. Within a few hours, the base was a zombie land. Everybody had left. And we're standing there, and I see in distance like Humvees pulling in with the huge Shia militia flags. And
what does a Shia militia flag look like?
All kinds of it. One, it can be green, solid red, solid black. It could be a picture of their imams, which their prophets, like a face with like shmag or scars.
But not an Iraqi flag?
Iraqi flag on its own can mean anything, but it can mean just Iraq. But if it's followed by other flags, it's the Shia militias.
Wow.
Because the Iraqi military, or specifically the special operations, CTS, they wouldn't fly anything, just the Iraqi flag. So we knew it was them, it was the federal police, it was a lot of people. And I'm just like, what the hell just happened? And my parents are gone. My family, they're all gone. And they're like calling me up, crying. They're like, are you going to be okay? I'm like, are you going to be okay? I'm surrounded by like
Marines.
Yeah. Like I'm fine, but it was very emotional, very, very emotional. Oh shit, like Kirkuk got taken over. And then we're all postured up. Everybody's full kitted up, guns on the roof. We're ready.
And these are part of technically the Iraqi government.
Exactly. It was so confusing.
Oh God, yeah.
So confusing. And we couldn't do anything. We would have been outnumbered like that. Somebody dumped a mag on towards our direction, like stand down, nobody fire back. And then we have all kinds of security. We have people already aware that we're basically abandoned, and you have ISR over. So what happened is we're like, okay, we're going to leave. We're getting ready to leave, and we're going to blow everything up behind us. You see dudes walking around with like Bangalores, like C4, just stuffing it in the kitchen. I saw all of that. It was like plastered on the door, like under the vehicles, like.
So let me see if I have this correct. So the Marines and the SEALs were not there at this time
yet. Yeah.
So the Marines were there with you and had helped, advise and assist the Kurds to help clear Kirkuk, right, and to take it back.
Yep.
And then you had to give up control to the Iraqi government.
Yep.
But in that, there's this cultural, quasi-religious, historical difference between the Shia and the Kurds. And so now the Shia majority, which is now tied in with the Iraqi government, is now pushing the Kurds back out of land that they helped to fight for. And so as the Marines were, because it's a small MSOT, right? There's a small team. They're just trying to destroy anything that would be, intelligence, information, anything like that. And they have to, sanitize the area before they leave.
Yep.
What was it like when that convoy rolled into the base?
So we were getting ready to leave when we get the word. Like helicopters would come in, we're flying out, everything burned down. But we had been told to wait. A Humvee shows up. This was from the federal police. And those guys are pure Iranian militia, but they're federal police. So you're really not dealing with direct Shia militias, but they're like at forefront. They pull up to the gate and we have to go out. Me and the CO and one Italian guy, and Sam also. And and I have a picture of that. That was a very, very emotional moment as well. And like, we walk up to the gate, and then this dude was a general. He was driving the Humvee himself. He was like a weirdo. He jumped. He's like, he jumps out, and he's like, we just fucking beat the shit out of the Kurds. Fuck those motherfuckers. And the MSOD dudes are looking at me, and I'm looking at back.
And again, you present Iraqi, not
yep.
Kurd. And you have to keep stone face.
Yep, exactly. I'm a translator. I am a nobody, right? I am translating for these guys right now, and I am not going to get, what am I going to say or do? So I'm like, well, what can we do for you, sir? And then he's like, yeah, just tell your guys right here. And then I have to mention this. As a translator, I had to de-escalate a lot of situations.
I can imagine.
A lot of people will talk mad. And like sometimes you have the Iraqi that is not getting what he asked for. So he's talking shit. And I know that the team chief is already like mad. He wants to like knock some teeth out. Like, and it's my job to de-escalate both sides, because I could put gasoline on fire and it wouldn't end well. That's not the job. So I was like, yeah, well, hey, Sam, he's saying we kicked the shit out of that. I made sure to translate that.
I left that part in.
I love that part. I was like, hey, he said, fuck, because we loved, like, everybody loved working with the Peshmerga. Everybody. Like, there's not a single story. I don't want to be biased or anything, but a lot of internal attacks happened both in Iraq and Afghanistan by partner forces, but you'll never hear a story that was done by a Kurd. So I was like, hey, he just said, fuck the Kurds pretty much, and we're here if you guys need anything. And they're like, yeah, thank you. His name was Abbas. Thank you, General Abbas. Would like to keep your phone number if you just to, stay in touch, whatever. You never know, because these guys are like friends with my enemy. So I have to like kind of draw some or build some form of relationship with him. Like, and I had my Turp phone. So I grab his phone number and he leaves and we're back. And the guys immediately were like, dude, Mike, we're fucking sorry, dude. We're here for you. Like, fuck that guy. I was like, yeah, I mean, this is not, what am I going to do? Like, Kurdish, again, like, get shit on.
Hey, sorry to say, but you guys are used to it, I guess? Is like,
absolutely. Absolutely.
How old are you?
Probably, I'm 21 now, I think.
21 years old?
I think 21, yes.
So just for clarification, right? So 21 years old, the Kurds and the Marines and you have cleared through Kirkuk, have fought for this space,
and further.
Yeah,
the little towns outside of Kirkuk.
And this general comes in, and you guys are told to leave beforehand, that the Iraqi government is taking it, and then this general, to your face, not knowing that you're a Kurd, continues to effectively berate you, and you have to, at that point, be the ambassador of military and government relations.
Absolutely.
At 21 years old.
Yep. Yeah, they leave and we're back, and the word is we're not leaving. Like, hey, there's a special convoy on the way to talk to you guys. You're not going anywhere. And there's a lot of things that I wasn't exposed to as well.
Sure.
But they trusted me enough to where I knew what was going on. Those guys were family up to this minute. So then the CTS general comes up.
And this is CTS is the Kurdish general.
So this one is the Iraqi one.
Okay, excuse me.
The guys that we really trust and had worked with beforehand. He's like, hey, and we brought him on base immediately because we know the guy. You can look him up. He's like this old guy, like step below the president of Iraq. He walks in and he's like, hey guys, you just with this tone, I'm so sorry. We're gonna protect you. We have a one battalion called the Kirkuk battalion, actually, that's gonna surround the base and will protect you, and we're not gonna let any Shia in or whatsoever. So we're like, okay. So long story short, Kurds are gone. Our friends are gone. Now we're establishing a new relationship with the Iraqi special operations. And now internally, there's a lot going on within the team. We're like, all right, what's going to happen now? Our guys went up north. We have to split the team into two elements. One team is going to go work with ACOM the commandos up north, and then one team is going to stay here to maintain the presence here, because word comes down from a big boss that we need to maintain presence here. And that's what essentially happened. And to me, it got risky, very, very risky, because beforehand I would drive off base by myself in the F-150 trucks that we had, or the Hiluxes, and we'd just go buy groceries and all kinds of stuff for the guys, because I had the Kurds on the checkpoints, and we're
buddies,
friends.
Family.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now everybody knows there's a small American team here, everybody, and then I will be the only person leaving in and out of that base. We had 2 cooks that they left before they ran us over, because they were like, I don't want to die here.
Yeah.
So then I had applied for a visa for the U.S. through International Organization of Migration, which is like an organization that does a horrible job with visas. This is like they're based in Jordan. This is before it gets to America. So that they respond, they're like, "Oh, your shit's gonna take years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years." So now I'm at a stage where I love what I'm doing. I'm an interpreter, but I'm also trying to get the fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Like things are getting more heated, specifically when they came over, the Shia militias. And that whole transition, when it happened, like there was a lot of people died in the city, like civilians, like they would go kick in doors, like Kurdish people, like whatever. Now we have a new mission set. We have a new routine. We're working with new people. And now the MARSOC is getting ready to leave, and Navy SEALs are taking over. So the SEALs had already come and shared the base with us. It was like a month and a half, like transition. And I was going in and out of base every day. It was bad. I could feel it. I could feel the eyes. I could feel the energy. I played with fire a lot. I get a phone call, because I had my Terp phone. That was the start of it. I was like, oh boy, here we go. Like, hey, we know we got your number from, because the Terp phone, everybody has it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to talk to everybody to talk to our guys. They're like, oh, I'm the new security officer, major, whatever. I was told that you work there, and I need to update the Iraqi. And this is like, I know exactly where he's going with this. I'm like, I'm 10 steps ahead of you. Like, what can I do for you? It's like, I want to know exactly how many guys are on that compound, how many, and this is like, you're so funny. It's like, how many vehicles, guns? I'm like, continue. He's like, dude, and I have to play I put on a poker face. I have to play innocent and act dumb.
And because you're not trained by the CIA, you're not trained by the State Department. Yep. You're 21, 22 years old, having to deflect bad actors who are trying to collect on Americans.
The guys, wow. the teams that
and Italians.
Yeah. But I know this dude already knows everything about me.
Ugh.
He knows where my family live. So I can be like, fuck you, hang up the phone, go hide on base. My family are out there.
But your family can't.
But I'm going to play dumb. Like, dude, I would love to help you. This is what I told him. Like, I'd love to help you. That'd be awesome. But I promise you, I'm not the Terp. I'm the guy that goes and picks up the trash.
Right.
They're like,
I'm the grocery guy. Yeah.
They're
exactly.
like, we see you go beyond that gate. I'm like, dude, they have multiple layers beyond that. As soon as I go through that gate, that's it. I load up the truck with trash and I leave. I don't know anything. I wish I could. Maybe one day if I see it, I'll just to fool him, get him off my ass. But then I immediately go back and I told Adam. He's like, hell yeah, dude. He's like, that dude would love to peel your skin with a spoon. He's like, those motherfuckers are bad. They're dangerous. So I had already worked enough with a lot of guys to understand what was going on. And so the SEALs take over fully. And now we're getting more. So, and we had the counter intel team with the SEAL team, they were Marines. They're all CI humid guys. Mm-hmm. So you have the SEALs and you have the CI humid guys that are that get the
So
information.
CI human counterintelligence,
Yep.
human intelligence.
Yep.
Okay. And they were
SIG
Marines.
dudes.
And,
Yeah.
and
Signal
signals intelligence.
All Marines. All awesome dudes. They prepare the package, and we go out. One of the nights, we were making a birthday party for one of the guys, and they were like, shit, we need a cake. But I'm like, I'll fucking go get a cake. Like, dude, it's 8 p.m. Like, I don't give a shit. And then
You're crazy. You're crazy, man. You were crazy.
I was like, I'm gonna get this dude a cake. He's not home.
And this one of the SEALs or one of the?
This was the Marsoc EOD guy.
Oh, fantastic.
I had amazing friends that I also trusted. My best friends that are still my friends now. I'm like, hey, I need you to come pick me up at the gate. He's like, okay, I'll give you $100, $200. He's like, dude, yeah, get picked up. As soon as there was multiple gates to go through. As soon as I got to the last gate and left, the Iraqi gate, it was dark. His headlights shined the road, and there was a parked pickup truck, and there was 4 dudes in it, dressed up in military gear, and they had beards. And Shia militia. I know what they look like. That's like my nightmare. And I'm like, how much you want to bet? As soon as you drive down the road and take the right turn, this guy is going to turn his headlights on and start following us. It happened. These dudes, they turned the headlight on, start following us. Like, just take it easy. We go through the first checkpoint.
Are you calling the Americans and like
No.
you're on your own?
Yep. Because those guys can't come out. It's not like the old days. It's
Right.
like, it was a whole process to do that stuff. And I had a pistol. I had accepted fate. I was like, if I go this way, this is the best way. And so they start chasing us, like actually like hauling ass.
Oh
and they were shitty followers too. So we fucking haul ass. I was like, I knew the area like the back of my hand. I was like, get in this little alleyway in this neighborhood. Like, we lost them. I was like, I got out. I was like, go. I was like, what? I'm like, go home. Leave me here. I'm going to walk up to this like point, and I need you to go pick up your dad's car and come pick me back up. So that was how I had to live. So he goes, change the cars, picks me up, bring the cake, come back to base.
Wait, time out. I'm not going to let you gloss over that part. In the middle of all this,
Yeah.
you still picked up the birthday cake.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I did.
God, you're crazy.
I
You are crazy, man. I love it.
It was awesome.
Okay, so you make it back to base.
Make it back to base.
You've changed cars now.
Yep.
My God.
Cakes well served.
Dude, that EOD guy. Do you have his first
Birthday.
name? Do you know his first
Jake.
name? Jake?
Yeah.
Jake? You owe this motherfucker a phone call, Jake.
A lot of that, a lot of being followed. And so during the transition, this was January 2018, I think, I get off base by myself. We had no cooks, right? Because they fleet, those guys. I'm going on a grocery run for the team because I was like the only access off base, and you can't eat MREs forever. We had like stoves and kitchen, like we were able to cook. So I have a Hilux. I'm driving a Hilux, and I noticed I'm being followed again by myself. So I'm like, okay, let's see if I can lose this guy, or let me confirm. I knew the 10-minute 2 turns, all that good stuff. So I take multiple turns, and this guy is still on me. And I call one of my other friends that I still also trust, one of my best friends, the same guy that picked me up. I was like,
on the cake escapade.
yep. He's like,
You have some good friends, by the way. You have some good friends.
He's like, what now, dude? I'm like, I'm being followed. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag this guy. I'm going to have him keep following me. You're going to meet me at near the university. We're going to put him under gunpoint. Who the fuck are you? I didn't have to do that. I could have just gone back to base, but it was too late. Well, as soon as I hang up the phone, I am surrounded by like cars left and right. Like, motherfuckers started showing up left and right. They all get out, put me under gunpoint, and I'm not on the phone right now. I'd hung up, and it happened really quick. They've been watching me, and they had other guys on the way. If you think I had a reaction, like, I didn't. I was just like, what's going on? Like, get out. I locked the door. Like, get the fuck out. Banging on the window, and I couldn't leave. They had locked me pretty good. I didn't know who they were. They were civilian. They were in civilians. I knew it wasn't ISIS. I suspected they were Shias. Open the door, and then I just get dragged out. So I'm like, it was winter, and I had an Apple Watch on, and my friend was calling me in the moment. And as I'm like going through the bullshit motions, I'm like, oh, I responded on the Apple Watch.
Damn.
So he can just hear the background noise. Like, help, I'm being kidnapped. Like, just so he can hear me. Didn't take him long. They reached for my phone and turned it off, took my wallet, and they throw me in the back of a Toyota Camry. Someone else gets in, and then it was a neighborhood. There was like women and children that came out. They were screaming like, "Leave this kid alone! Leave this kid alone!" They took off. They take the Hilux. They take it, and I'm like trapped in this back of and I wouldn't be able to open the door as well.
So they put like a child lock or whatever it was on the door?
Yeah.
So you're in the back of this Toyota Camry.
Yeah. There's a guy next to me.
Your car is gone.
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking?
This is it. This is it. I was just a terp. I wasn't anybody, and I wasn't trained on anything. But in the moment, I was just like, oh, cool. This is it. And I had a big mouth, which I swear to God, I'm like, shut the fuck up. I was telling myself, this dude is in the front, is a driver, and then you got driver's seat, and then you got this motherfucker. Dude, it was probably the only action he had in his whole life was to just punch me for no reason.
So he hits you with his AK?
With his fist. He had gloves on. I'm like, he picks up the phone, and they speak Arabic, all of them. He picks up the phone. He's like, sir, we got him. And then he picks up another one. He's like, get me tasers. And then as we're driving, he's saying random names. He's like, Shamsuddin, whatever. Like, who the fuck are you talking about? Like, literally, just like with that tone, like, who the fuck? If you think you got your guy, you don't. I'm the wrong person. I promise you. They still don't have access. They haven't checked my wallet yet. And this is, you'll find out what this was, some bullshit op that they had pulled on me. I'll get into the details. I'm like, you got the wrong guy. Whoever you think you got the wrong guy. And I'm just like getting fucking punched. So this guy's driving, and we're like halfway in the city, and he pulls up to a police station. Get into the police station, get dragged out, put me in a fucking corner, kick me a bunch more, fucking cheap pussy shots. I swear to God. I was like, yep, no worries. And then they're in the other room discussing. They're like, who the fuck is this guy? I had a Peshmerga ID and a Terp ID. They're like, and then I had $800 cash because I was going to buy food. And it's like, I told you got the wrong. They were in the other room now screaming. I was like, I told you got the wrong motherfucker.
So you're yelling back at these guys as they're sitting here with this like treasure trove of stuff.
Yep. I was like,
God, you have the stones on you. My God.
I swear to God, I was like, well, if this is it. So the big boss comes. This motherfucker was a Shia motherfucker. But they had known they fucked up really bad because we, as a SEAL team, had a very close relationship with the top dogs in the city. One of them being the police chief. So the head guy comes up to me. He's like, you'll never see the sun again. I'm like, fuck you. I swear. I was like, you do your job and I'll do my job and we'll see who wins. He's like, he was aggravated. He was like, fuck you. Anyways, so what really this is, they're trying to put me in because they had a guy on the loose that was doing all kinds of shit for him. This is like a can of worms that I was involved in. There was a guy that was pacing back and forth, kind of like he was like my watch. I was like, hey, you want to make a couple $100? He's like, yeah. Fuck yeah, he wants to. That's like 2 months of fucking salary. Like, I have a lot of phone numbers memorized in my head. I don't need to look at. I had my dad's phone number memorized. Like, call this number and tell him I'm right here. Let me backtrack. When I respond to my Apple Watch and my friend hears for 6 hours. Oh, he calls my brother and starts crying. He's like, they got him. I just heard him saying, I got kidnapped, help. And my brother and my dad, they freak out. They call the contracting company, and the contract company calls the SEALs. So everybody is on high alert.
So everybody knows.
This is before this dude had called my dad. Before anybody had called him, my friend thought I'm dead.
Yeah.
For 6 hours, everybody thinks I'm dead. They go looking for me at checkpoints, trash cans, dumpsters, hospitals, like looking for my body. And my mother doesn't know yet. And they told me all this later. So that dude agreed to call that number. I said, all you have to do is just say, hey, he is here, and just hang up. I promise you I'll get you paid. And he also helped me because he knew they fucked up pretty bad. He's like, I'm not getting involved in this shit. So now everybody knows I'm there. And then the SEALs are now involved. That people were getting ready. They were getting ready to go out looking for me.
And come snatch you up?
Yep.
Oh my God.
So they know where my location is. My dad shows up. He talks back to the team, and it ended up being that. So there was a guy on the loose that they had paid off. Like, I'm the police. I'm a chief of that station. There's a guy that has the ability to go and do burglaries, and like, because there's barely any banks in Iraq. So if you're rich, you have stacks of money at your home. This dude would go steal money and pay off the police. So they had him on the loose. Some people had noticed that there's somebody who's doing this, and the news had gone out that this guy has to be arrested. So what they tried to do is arrest me
and pin it on you,
pin it on me, and throw me in. But holy shit, it went backwards. Those guys are all in for life, by the way. They're in jail.
So, okay, yeah. So then all of this unravels because you get a phone call on your iWatch or your Apple Watch, and you set the things in motion. And now, how did you get out of this?
We had a special team that we had trained, case SWAT. They were specifically assigned by the SEALs to come and just pull me out, like just get me out. And
I'm assuming based on your cagey response that you're not going to give any more information on that.
Yeah. And so what happened is they made a lot of phone calls, and these dudes, the guy who got me was like, I am so sorry. This is the worst mistake of my life.
In the car on the initial ride.
Yeah. So what I did, because I was also in the process of coming to the US, and that's a hard process to get that visa. I wanted to clear my name because they took my fingerprints, and I was like,
and then that's going to ping in Jordan, right?
Yep. And the State Department. And I was like, I'm going to clear this shit out. Where they're like, okay, you have to go to court the next morning. So we have to put you in a cell tonight. You have to go to court in front of the judge to get your name cleared. We can let you go now. If you want to go home, dude. Get the fuck out of here. We're sorry. Like,
they're like roll out the red carpet. You're like, we are so sorry.
I swear to God. They're like, just leave. I'm like, no, I'm going to talk to that judge tomorrow.
Because I need my name cleared.
Because if I go to an interview a few months later and I'm talking to somebody at the State Department, they wouldn't just believe my words that, hey, I'm cleared. This is just like a hiccup in the system. Like, I need that cleared. They're like, if you need that cleared, weird process. You have to go to the judge tomorrow. Judge is asleep right now, and they can't just call the judge. I had to fight for my own name to be cleared. So I stay the night there. I go to it was the same jail that had got blown up when I was in 6th grade. When
next to the school?
Yep.
I
swear to God. It was.
So you were in jail next to the school you were in jail that got hit by a VBID that when you were in school as a child and you were in that same jail as an adult, falsely imprisoned for whatever this thing was, this burglary thing.
Yep.
Okay. So you go to the judge the next morning. What was that like?
He was like, I know everything, dude. We're sorry. Please, here's your exoneration paperwork. Go home.
And that was it.
That was it. And then I go back to base. Dudes start hugging me left and right. And they're like, we just need you to talk to the counter intel guy. He just got here. Because when I was when I stayed the night, before I walked in, I took a quick glance at the list of names that are in there, and terrorism, ISIS. So there's like I spend the night with ISIS.
Oh my
I swear to God.
God.
There was like dudes chained up next to each other. They're like, oh, you just got here. How's the sun outside? These dudes were rotting in there. I didn't sleep the whole night. I was just chain smoking. The following day, well, but before my dad found out, he had to tell my mom. My mom told me this later. She was like, your dad was acting weird. And I watched him walk outside in the front yard. He was on the phone. I knew something was up, and I knew it was about you. And my dad walks in, and she's like, we can't find your son. She tells my mom, she's like, because they had lived in such high anxiety the whole time I was a translator. And for them to hear that was their nightmare.
It was the worst nightmare coming true.
That they could so she collapses, but then that's a whole different story. So I go to base and they're like, dude, fuck, we're happy to have you back. They had, there were people flying in from Erbil to get ready to, they told me the whole story. They're like, dude, fuck ISIS. You are like our priority. We're trying to get you out. We're trying to find you. And they're like, we have a counter intel guy. He just got here. You have to talk to him, or he wants to talk to you, just because it's like, you just spend the night with ISIS. We want to know what's going on. So, and it's Fritz. He's like, hey, I'm Fritz Slayer. I'm a counter intel guy. Just got here. I want to talk to you about what was going on.
So you just got out of Iraqi jail,
yep.
Right? And now you get brought back to the SEAL compound, and there's a Marine counterintelligence, human intelligence person who wants to interview you.
Yep. I meet this guy, Fritz Slayer, and basically wanted to have a conversation with me of what happened and what was I exposed to and who did I talk to and just like a 5W of the situation. And me and Fritz really connected in a moment, and we became best of friends. That was his last deployment to Iraq before he retired, and we started working together. I became his personal interpreter.
Really?
Yeah, we developed this program, or he did. I was just translating. That he,
you keep saying that. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt for a second. You keep saying that you're just a translator, and by now, any of the audience who's been with us through this interview realize that you are not just a translator. You have been in some incredible places and made some, in the heat of the moment, right judgment calls that legitimate foreign policy was hanging on the thread of a 21-year-old, right, who was in the position. So could continue on.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. We work with the Peshmerga intelligence forces. Now that we split the teams between Kirkuk and Sulaymaniyah, we would go up north in convoys every few weeks to maintain the relationship that we had with the Kurds and the commandos and the Peshmerga intelligence. And we had our own connection in Kirkuk with the Iraqi CTS. It was SEAL Team 1 that took over. We didn't do much. There was a lot of meetings, a lot of target development, and that's when I learned more that the pathway to America has gotten even harder. The program is called SIV, Special Immigrant Visa. Up to 2014, the requirements for that program were very chill. It was very easy to qualify for that program. You just had to be a translator for a year, and then you would submit your paperwork to the State Department, and under the SIV program, you would get out. In 2014, they changed it. The U.S. mission had also changed to Advise and Assist. So that program was permanently shut down, and they now have a different program where you need to have a general's support to qualify. You have to have at least 1 year work as a translator, counter intel screening, and a letter from a general. And as an interpreter, I didn't have any access to a general.
Unless you were working specifically for
a general. And I had to basically explain to my team that I need a letter from a general because it's very important, vital piece of this whole process. And that's where Fritz helped me a lot as well as Chris Petkis. He was the SEAL OIC, great friend of mine. He's out now. he submitted a request for a general, basically explaining my situation. Hey, this is our guy. This is the stuff he's done with us. And he's also passionate about joining the U.S. military when he gets to the States. So he basically narrated what's going on, and it got up all the way to Marine General Glynn. He's a 3-star general now. So the letter comes back signed by him,
Awesome.
and it was unbelievable. Like, so it took a little bit. The team had left, another team had taken over, Team 3, and they were aware that there's a letter pending for me. And the letter came back, so I started my process. I applied for this 2018, like mid 2018.
And you're still operating in Iraq at this time frame. You're still in Kirkuk area. And so you've gone through the Marine Special Operations teams who have turned it over to SEAL Team 1, who has turned it over to SEAL Team 3. Was it a super kinetic environment still, or was it starting to calm down? What was the area like?
It was post-Mosul, post-Battle of Mosul. The city had been cleared. Iraqis declared victory over ISIS in 2018, but the information that we had is, sure, it's over, but all the high-level individuals within ISIS had fled the city, and now they're hiding, and they've dug up actual tunnels that they're living under now. And now our mission shifted to where, okay, we're going to go chase these guys.
Awesome.
Hunt them down in tunnels.
Was it still advise assist, or was it SEAL led, or was it, Iraqi led, or was it kind of a combination?
It was a combination. We worked very closely with the Iraqi CTS, Special Operations. We developed targets, and we would go out and conduct missions together. At times they would lead the way, at times we would lead the way. It just all was dependent, and I'll get into it. The letter comes back signed. I apply. I put in the paperwork with Fritz, and then Fritz is now getting ready to leave, going back to the U.S. And this is not a goodbye, because I'll see you soon. And in all honesty, I didn't have any hope in that paperwork because I didn't have any trust in the SIV program. I received the letter, and wow, I'm incredibly happy, and I'm going to submit it. Fingers crossed, we'll see. And when I got an approval, that was when I actually, okay, this is actually happening. So submit the letter, go through with Team 3. The work we did with Team 3, we did a major operation with Team 3. What was, we had partnered up with the 80s Peshmerga forces. Mm-hmm. So you have 70s and the 80s, the KDP part. We'd partnered up with them, and I think it was the Belgium Special Operations.
Cool.
So we have this huge mountain range that we're going to go clear. It was a 3-day operation. It wasn't just like get to target, pop up, come back, RTB. There was a lot of moving parts, a lot of planning, logistics involved in this operation. So we get inside our Land Cruisers and MAD-Vs, and we start driving towards the Makmur Mountains, which was a huge mountain range that was known for high presence of ISIS inside the tunnels, and it was very.
So that was my question. So they're using the mountain system because there's a tunnel network that they can hide in, and I'm sure that there were lessons learned from the Taliban in Afghanistan. If they had a tunnel network inside of mountains, it would provide them a lot more safety, a lot more security from American bombs. If I'm assuming a lot here, is that okay?
Yep, that was it. There was a little river at the bottom of the mountain that they had also picked that location, a strategic location for them, so they can go get water from it. We had intel from a Peshmerga saying that they've seen ISIS members going down to that river, and we get up top. It's a very complex environment. There's hundreds of people everywhere, like with spread across the mountain range. And I had to go with the SEAL Team 3 OIC to talk to the Peshmerga general. And that was a total shit show, because those guys, there was just so many moving parts that it was hard to control them. Those guys, they just wanted to go and just kill. And we had to basically like control the battleground and like hold them back, because we had air support that wanted to lay the ground for us, like drop bombs, and then we would push. But before that happened, these Peshmerga guys just started taking off and going down the mountain range.
Because they know they're ISIS, right? And they want to be able to
get to them. And that made it very complicated on our end. The JTAC and the OIC, they have to communicate with the jets that, hey, those are our guys, just be advised. And they respond back like, hey, pull them out. You have to pull them. It's like the danger close is too high. So I have GoPro foot. I had a GoPro on my chest that I was just recording, and you see me, they're just screaming, like calling people back. That was very rough. I ended up pulling everybody back online. And this is like, you don't see the dudes on like phase line blue, green, and white and red. It's like radio communication. Like you don't see these people. You don't have eyes on them. Like us, like the SEAL team elements, and then the Belgium, and then the Peshmerga. It's a huge element. Pull the guys back. They start laying down bombs, ordnance on these tunnel systems. And you would think we got rid of all of them. We didn't. We start the clearance. So now we're ready. We're pushing down. And now we're all patrolling down this mountain. We started at 6 a.m. It was in the summer. It was incredibly hot. And not a lot of us, almost 95% of us, didn't properly plan for water because we didn't know. We were like, all right, we're just going to go through, clear the tunnels, and then we'll get picked up by the trucks at the bottom. That's not what happened. We got stuck in the middle. We got into a very heavy firefight. There was a lot of guys that were not affected by the air support. And we got into a huge firefight, and we had to pause for about like 8 hours. We're just sitting in the sun, and we literally got to a point where the Peshmerga, they had a donkey with them. They would send the donkey back up to the mountain, and those guys would put cases of water. The donkey would come back down, and we would like share a bottle of water with one guy, like warm water. It was horrible.
Well, I like the idea that the Peshmerga at least, used like knowing the mountains, knowing that system, right? Some of the tried and true like logistics matters, right? In these instances. And I really like the idea that the coalition was saved by, Peshmerga ingenuity, right? Of kind of understanding the old ways of like, hey, no American would think to bring a donkey, right? But the Peshmerga brought a donkey, and they did, and that was the thing that saved the operation.
Yep, we got water resupply. We had a dog, team dog with us, Axel. Firefight, just guns blazing, bullets flying everywhere. You got aircraft doing like show force, like flying very low, dropping bombs. Like I think we lost about 5 to 6 Peshmerga dudes that day. They would just get unfortunate that there's not much tactics, or it's not as tight as we do it here. They just want to. And I get it. They just want to jump to the next room they want to clear, or the tunnel system. And that was really hard to watch, those guys. And you have to continue pushing. So we push down, we clear these tunnels, and just guys with 40 mics just blowing up tunnel systems. And we get to the end, to the bottom of the mountain ridge. And this is like huge. We're at the bottom. There was a Canadian convoy had to drive out there to take Axel out, the dog, because he heat cased. Ooh. Yeah, so we don't have Axel, and they took Axel, and we're unable to leave yet. We don't have the trucks to come pick us up because the Belgium team, their phase line, they were a little slower. So we get a call on the radio, and there was two of us, me and another interpreter. He was a U.S. citizen. We were both supporting on different phases. So the SEAL team OIC gets a call, says, hey, there's a Belgian dude stuck on the other side of the mountain. He is surrounded by fire, and he needs to, the helicopter is unable to like evac him. It's unsafe. We need you guys to go get this guy. And there was a Kurdish Toyota Hilux truck that was just hanging out in the area, kind of like the radio guy. And Izzy came up to me and said, hey, we need this truck. We're going to drive across opposite direction and try to go pull that dude out. So I go up to him like, we need your truck. And he's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah. We just like, dude, we need your truck. We have a dude. So we get in the truck. Hop in the back seat. We leave like almost 80% of the team. There's like 5 of us. We drive across and then we get off. And then one of the chiefs, this dude he doesn't communicate with you. He doesn't talk. He just grabs people, moves them around, and that's his style.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever like talks to him. But he's good at the job. He looks at us. He's like, all right, speed over security. We're going to drop our kits because we're going to run. And he looked at me and the other interpreter. He was like, I need a terp. And that interpreter looks at me, and I could see, not to talk bad on him, or he was just like, no, this ain't me. This
too far. Yeah.
And I was like, I got it. He's like, okay, we're running towards fire, motherfucker. You know that. Or I'm like, let's go. So we drop kit, me and 3 other SEALs, and we're just booking it. And,
are you serious?
Yeah. I had to give this kind of a story in SOI in front of in IMC, in front of the whole class.
The School of Infantry and the Infantry Marine Corps, so which we'll get into. It's kind of a funny coincidence.
Yeah. Somebody had brought up a courage. They're like, we need an example of courage. Does anybody have it? And I kept my mouth shut until there wasn't any. And I said, I have a story to share. And I think that's an act of courage, to where I stepped up and I knew I'm going to be running towards fire, but I still did it knowing selflessly that it's going to potentially save somebody else's life. By no means I'm Superman or anything, but I don't know if I should say we were lucky or not, but by the time we got to the base of the mountain, those guys had already reached the bottom. So we didn't have to go back up and like get in a firefight and bring them. But we did sprint for a good distance.
So who had gotten to the Belgian soldier that was isolated? Who got to him?
His boys had got to him, and some of the Peshmerga dudes, and they had brought him back down.
Okay, so then you had SEALs coming in from one end, and so 3 SEALs and you from one end, and then you had the Belgians and the Peshmerga fighting, all trying to get to this one isolated
their own element. Yep. And then they had made it. By the time we got there, they had made it down.
And you guys were fighting up the mountain or down the mountain?
We started from the top to the bottom, and then when we went to get the Belgian dude, we thought we were going to fight back up, but they had already made it down.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yep. And then going back, so the trucks, and it's sunsets at this point. The trucks come picks back up, and we're going around up top. And that's when a lot of the families showed up of those Peshmerga dudes to take their bodies home. And I was just sitting.
Can you explain a little bit more about that? About what's the culture behind that? Sort of the bodies and burial, and talk a little bit about that.
There's a saying, it says, if you want to respect a body, you bury it. So those families, those guys that had died in front of those tunnel systems, their dudes had pulled them out and brought them all the way up to the top. And by the time the sun, I didn't even think about that during that time, because we're like pushing forward. There's all kinds of stuff going on. We're clearing tunnel systems and going back up. I saw a lot of family members. I saw like wives of those guys that were just crying and just running around. And then at that point, it was just a glance like, oh, the aftermath of what just happened, and we're pushing back to base. SEAL Team 3 leaves, made incredible friends, amazing friends. Now SEAL Team 5 takes over. And
I'm sorry, the freaking career that you have had and the people that you have worked with, my God, people can only dream about the career that you had. I'm sorry, total aside.
You're good. Team 5 picks up the guys that are leaving, introducing me to the guys that are incoming. And this is our guy. That's when things picked up a little. We have a new counter intel team now, Marine counter intel team. And I got really close with those guys. I still talk to them to this day. We started developing targets. Now I got more involved in a lot of meetings. I would sit down and talk to sources. I like captured ISIS dudes, and I would just sit there and talk to them. And one of these guys that we had, and this is something that I remember usually, I had already had some notes that was given to me about this guy's background. And read a lot of the shit he had done in Fallujah. And this guy was still on the loose until we got him. And then I was just like, I was having fun with it. I was like flipping through the pages, like, at this time, this day, you had a VBID Opel Victorette that you loaded up with explosives and you used it. And it's like, yep. And he's like, yep. And dude, just like, there was no soul in his face. He was just like,
really?
yeah. And then
explain what that's like. So you're sitting with the fighter, so who is on. I've fought people who were, on a jihad, right? And there just cannot be reasoned with. Like, there is nothing that we could do to convince them to stop fighting. And I've written about it in the past of where, the specific passage that I write, I think, is something to the effect of, we had given them, the Iraqi interpreters that we had in Fallujah would be pleading with the jihadis, right? Trying to get them to throw down their arms. And they answered back with gunfire.
Yep.
And the Marines answered back the only way that we could to honor the interpreters and the Iraqi civilians that we were trying to fight for. Was the only thing that we could do was fight back. And so what is that like, being in the room with someone like that, with an ISIS fighter, and having a conversation with?
It's like everything that I have gone through my whole life and I've seen that was involved in explosions, people dying, combat, is this person that I'm sitting across. This is their ideology. This is their whole belief. And you would think that being this vulnerable, they would be sorry or feel bad or weak. No, they would still tell you, if I had the chance, I would kill you right now. So it was a lot of frustration and hate, a lot of hate and anger is what I would feel in the moment. And you would feel anger and frustration and hate towards them?
Absolutely. And they would feel the same to you?
Yep. And then, like, you would expect someone to, like a detainee, to be vulnerable. No, this dude was still talking like he's out there doing jihad. I did a lot of that, a lot of interrogation meetings, and then we started going out. We started going out with Team 5. We went on this one op that I don't know the timelines, but I was sitting by the fire pit, and the team OIC comes up to me and said, "Hey, we developed we've been watching this target. I was aware of as well. We're gonna go get them, but we're gonna insert with boats." And I'm like, "What?" Yeah. Like, I'm not a Navy SEAL. So it's like,
that's your job, guys.
He's like, "We're gonna insert with boats. I need you to call up we had a specific battalion we were working with Iraqis, and I was the guy main guy to talk to him and say, hey, I need you to come down to the battalion commander. We discuss the operation, the target, and what are we gonna do?" So, and I said, "Hey, I question," and this was like a joke. We were like, "We're gonna be fully kitted up, and if we get shot, if the boat gets shot, are we all going down?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "And we're doing it?" He's like, "Yeah."
He's like, "Oh yeah, matter of fact, of course we are." You're like, "Oh my God, what did I get myself into?"
So, I'll be honest, that was one of the scariest ops I went on. It was just unknown, very unknown. I've never done anything like that. These guys, incredible at what they do. They get the boats ready. We loaded up on the trucks.
Were they rubber boats or were
yes.
they? Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
We're loaded on the trucks, and we start going out at 2 a.m. in the morning. And the feeling I had, the goosebumps, that feeling when that you're protected, you're inside an up armored truck. You're like, I'm protected. But as soon as you're in that permissive environment or hostile environment, you open the door, you get out, and you feel it in your skin that
there's this thing. It happens to me in the back of my neck when I feel like I'm hunting, and I feel like I'm being hunted at the same time. It's the sense of awareness, the hair on my ears and my fingertips. I don't have hair on my fingertips, but hair. My finger. Like, I just feel like I'm in this weird kind of zone. What was that like for you?
It was. You described it pretty well. It's like, I'm out to chase some bad guys, but at the same time, I can be killed in any moment.
They're hunting you.
They're hunting me. If I don't die, I could lose a leg or be permanently injured. And I wasn't really trained. Everything I just picked it up. I had a gun. Those guys trained me. We would go on a range and they would teach me. I'd laid my guard down, not in a sense of I was complacent, but I trusted those guys. Yeah. I knew they would protect me. And we get on that op, we roll out, 2 a.m. in the morning, lights out, and we're driving with NVGs. And just the stories of the Iraqi Humvee, a random Iraqi Humvee getting like engine issues. We had to stop the convoy. They would pull to the side. We'd lose a Humvee and we just continue and roll up to checkpoints. This one check, and we'd roll up dark. You can only hear, if you're an Iraqi at a checkpoint, you can only hear an engine approaching. You can't see anything. And some like dudes would freak out. We'd roll up to checkpoints and people like pull guns on us. And I'd get out, explain, hey, we're on a timeline. We got to go. So we get to the lower Zob. We unload the boats. And then we have 3 boats. And as much as I like to share the cool parts of the story, I can share some moments that I kind of regret. This is one of them. We laid the boats in the water and people started getting on, and we had to bring the Iraqis with us. Like each boat was like eight guys, and 2 or 3 of them was an Iraqi operator. And these guys don't do boat insertions.
Sure.
They don't paddle. They don't. We get on first boat, second boat. I was on the second boat, and it's no engines and nods, and it's like very foggy and cold. So the nods are barely, like you can barely see through them.
Yeah.
And we're paddling. We're all paddling. Oh. And this Iraqi dude starts paddling backward. And the boat started like spinning in the water. And we hit something in the water. We hit a rock in the water that stopped us. And everybody jumped the fuck out. You have to jump out and hang on to the boat. And the current is pushing you. So we're wet. We're wet.
Yeah. Good way to start a mission.
Yeah. Like this is not like we're going to kill people and we're already like code black. I was. And but you have to put it together. Like I was focused. So we pull the boat, we get back on. This dude starts paddling again backwards. So I yanked him on his helmet. I like yanked him. He wouldn't listen. Later, this guy got killed. He rolls up to this. I'll come back real quick, but this is why I felt bad when I found out he got killed. He rolls up to a door, and he tries to open the door, and he brings out his phone and turns on the flashlight. And the ISIS just laid hate on him, killed him, injured a SEAL and another interpreter. And then when I learned that was him, I felt bad that I had hit him on the helmet. But anyways, we continue. We spooked. I think we spooked them, the ISIS dudes. We lost a guy. The boat, it was a shit show. The boat gets stuck again, and one of our JTAC hops out to pull it, and the boat like immediately like goes back to the current, and we lost the JTAC. He was like, this dude was smart. He was running across the shore with us and found another opportunity to hop back on the boat.
That's the thing, is like Hollywood makes all of these missions always seem like they are absolutely seamless and there's never anything. And I think that they really miss the mark, because while seamless missions look really good on TV, that's not actually how it happens. But I think when we portray missions as being these, perfect, never making a mistake, they really miss the ingenuity that happens. They really miss the ability for people to adapt at moments and then persevere through. You're 2 minutes into a mission and all of a sudden you're neck deep in water and you still have 16 more hours of this mission to go. So we don't actually capture, we capture the cool part of it, right? But like figuring shit out as it goes wrong, I think that's one of the best dynamics that the United States military or any of the things that I've seen in combat is people figuring it out on the fly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You don't see those little details that we get to experience first.
That are generally, most missions are generally a shit show.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. And it's a dry hole. That op was a dry hole. So we get to the part where we stop the boats. We get off the boats, tie them down, And then we start patrolling through the woods, and we had spooked him because we also found out later that the federal police across the river had heard us or them, but they started pop shots, and that's what spooked them. So we get there, we find everything that they had left behind, and we just blow it all up in RTB. Another mission, same thing. Hey, call the Iraqis. We're going out. We just dropped bomb on a meeting. There was a meeting, like 18 dudes. They split into 3 groups. 2 of them went separately, and the rest were in 2 big groups. They all got bombed and they got schwacked. We have 2 dudes that are alive. We got to go get them right now before it's too late. So this was basically a BDA. We went out to conduct a BDA, battle damage assessment, but then we also know there were 2 dudes that are on the loose walking around with AKs. And this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Everywhere I've been and things I've done. And this is the first time ever. We get there, we dismount, we start patrolling, we get to the scene, just body parts everywhere. And I'll tell you what's the cool thing. I'm right next to the JTAC, and he is in touch with the ISR. ISR is still up there, and we have the nods on, and the ISR had paved the way for us with the IR light that we could see, and we were just following. It was to me it was cool.
Yeah,
it's like we're not talking, we're just looking at each other and just hand and arm signals. And we're just following this green light. It's like guiding.
They're guiding you.
It's guiding. It's amazing. We have 2 elements. It was like basically an L shape, and then I have JTAC. They call him the recce guy. He's a recon guy, and then the OIC. And then the light suddenly disappears. It had gone in under. We found ourselves on an edge of a wadi, a valley that those dudes were hiding under. And they have no idea we're there. They have no idea. And like I peeked and I see both of them. They're back to back. They knew their day is coming. They had their backs to each other and they had their guns pointed up, but we gave them a second. We like peek, and these guys are communicating. The SEALs are communicating with their IR laser lights. They had no idea we're there. And I didn't do my job that night because the guy to my left, he knew enough to say, put your hands up in Arabic, which is fucking awesome.
So just out of the darkness,
I swear to
somebody in Arabic yells,
Al-Fa'idak.
Al-Fa'idak, right?
Al-Fa'idak.
And what do these dudes do?
They start tripping, and then next thing you know, they're fucking dead.
Gone.
So
they start firing back, right? And all of a sudden the SEALs just L-shape come up over the top.
Yep.
Holy hell, man.
My favorite SEAL was... Well, they're all amazing people. The one to my right, my favorite, he's a former Force Recon.
All right. Probably where he got it from. I'm just joking, SEALs, please.
And then that was really my first time kind of seeing that much, I don't know, it may sound fucked up, like product of the mission. Like, oh my God, we just killed this many people.
Yeah.
Like, 18, 19 dudes dead. 2 of them we just shot live. So now it's a lot of cleanup, like pick up their guns, put it to the side.
All the intelligence.
All the intel. And I had to do my job, like all the jinsiyas, the IDs, like everything. And then we would just RTB. And then next thing you know, on the news, the Iraqi police had gone out and they had taken selfies with the dead body saying, oh, we just killed all these ISIS. They took credit. Another op I went on with, this is Team 5. Did a lot with Team 5 in 6 months.
These guys sound like some snake eaters, man.
Yeah, we did so much. We go on this op, and this was, we're in the convoy, and the EOD, like, I love these guys. Like especially all the EODs, like Navy Marines, they're smart.
Yeah.
We're in a Max Pro vehicle, and then the EODs like scream, stop. It's 2 a.m. It's like, I see an IED. And then the team chief is like, dude, we got to go. Like, nope, we're not moving. He gets out, confirms there's an IED. So we have to establish like a small element to go patrol and set up at the entrance of this tunnel. So we leave like the whole convoy. And it was me, a JTAC, OIC, a chief, and 2 Iraqis. So it was like 8 of us. And a Marine SIGINT. It was 8 of us. And we're patrolling through this darkness of unknownness. It's like being in 29 Palms. Like it's just you, the stars, and some ISIS dudes hiding somewhere.
Jesus.
And that was an interesting one too, because you don't know what's going on, and it was scary. Like we had left the whole main element behind to figure this ID out and try to push the trucks around. So anyways, we get to the tunnel, we find the tunnel, we establish, and it started sunrise and everybody showed up, and we're like, okay, we're going to get ready and go clear this tunnel. This was a huge tunnel. We start going in, and this Iraqi major, great guy, he was our favorite. We all loved him. He just showed up with a pistol, a hat, no body armor, nothing, a cigarette. Like, yeah, let's go in. And we're all like kitted up. We go inside this tunnel. It's a very, very tight entrance. You're like crawling through, but as you get deeper, it turns into a room. You have motorcycles. I swear to God, you have generators, you have sheep, you have laptops. And then we're just like assessing. And
Yeah.
next thing you know, there's rounds coming off from where you're just getting shot at. And it's a tunnel. It's not a house. This thing had like roots, and we just started like booking it out. Like the OIC like pushed everybody out. And this is like screaming. You're just screaming inside
And
the
the
tunnel.
echoes from the gunshots.
Echo from the
Jesus.
shots. Yeah.
And you guys are probably suppressed, so at least you guys could communicate, but the reverberation from whatever gun is shooting at you.
Yep. It was loud, and we just pulled out and then just dropped ordnance from the CHATAC called up, and then 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, you see the smoke come out like quarter mile down the road from
another entrance.
Yep. And then, yeah, like it was just a lot of that.
Wow. All right. So I've got to ask, is that your last unit that you served with?
No.
Of course it isn't.
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
Jack, come on. Jesus Christ. This guy won the war on terrorism himself. My God.
we did one more op with Team 5, then Team 7 was my last one. Team 5, we go on an op, we start patrolling. Again, we go up to a target. And this is where I think about this op, and I tell myself things could have gone certain ways. We get to the target, and so we're patrolling, and these guys are sleeping in there. They don't know we're here. And I had, before we went on that op, I had PA speaker on me, and I had a pistol. That's all I had, and some like chem light, because I was trying to draw the path for these guys if they surrender. Like, hey, walk this way. We get up. Everybody sets up. You got the 249 guys, and they're like, all right, Mike, go ahead. And I get on the speaker. I'm like, hey, you're surrounded. We know you're in there. You're surrounded by Iraqis. I didn't mention Americans. We need you to come out and surrender. We'll spare your life. Nothing. Like quietness. And then one of the guys grabs the law, takes a knee, and kaboom, shoots the law at the side of the house. And this was an unfinished building. And that's when we started hearing like dudes got up. And then I started again, like, hey, get out. We know you're in there. You're surrounded. And they started praying, Allahu Akbar, citing the Quran. And
never a good sign.
Nope.
Never a good sign.
I said, guys, hey, I yelled it out. I was like, hey, they're coming out to kill us. Be prepared. They're saying their last jihad prayers. And then during this time, I'm just talking mad shit.
You have a loudspeaker.
Yep,
These guys are preparing to come outside.
I talk mad shit. Like, you dirty fucking pig. Because everybody's like, dude, piss them off. Like, you fucking dirty pig. I just went down on these guys. And so they came with this motherfucker. One of them came out with an RPG, not even a gun. And they couldn't see.
Sure.
So he throws a frag out first, right? This ISIS dude. He throws a frag, and we all back up. It goes off. I could feel the heat. And then we immediately patrol up, get closer. And this dude was running out with the RPG, and same thing.
That didn't work.
It didn't work. Pop, dropped right there. But had he pulled the trigger, at least 10 of us would have been gone.
Really?
Yeah. And then his boy tried to sneak out the back and like throw some pop shots, didn't work, got dropped too. And that it was a lot of. Then we go inside, clear the house, find all kinds of ammunition, HME, and just put everything together and just blow it up
and move on.
Yep.
Holy moly! And then so that's the last mission with Team 5.
Yep.
And then Team 7 shows up.
Team 7 shows up, and we didn't do much with those guys. It kind of like got settled. We did a lot of training. It seemed like
you and Team 5 had probably broken the back of a lot of the people that were there.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And it was a lot of training with Team 7, and we went on some ops. We did some night patrols and collected some, but a lot of the heat was definitely with Team 5.
Wow. Okay, so all this time you are going through the process of your SIV.
Yep.
You've gotten your letter from the Marine General at that point. The letter has come back. You have now submitted everything up to this office in Jordan.
So I had to send it directly to the immigration, to USCIS.
Okay.
Because it was a specific program, and they approved me. So what the process is, the immigration approves it, sends it to the State Department, they approve it, and then they send it to the embassy. And I got called by the embassy. They set up an interview. And then like I go there. This is like my first interview, real quick. I show up, I take it very seriously. Wore a suit, and I was still actively in combat with these guys. And
in between missions with Team 5 and Team 7.
Yep. And the guy that interviewed me was a guy that worked for the State Department, and he's like, in the last week, where have you been? Like everywhere. He's like, denied, go home. Like,
what?
Yeah, he denied me on the spot.
Why?
He didn't tell me anything. He said, I think it was because of I was involved in a lot of like heavy encounters, missions, like sensitive with these guys. But he said, we got to put you in an extra step. It's called administrative processing, which I saw the same guy approve 17 other applicants who weren't interpreters. They were getting marriage visas. Mm-hmm. And I got to him and I was like, mine is easy. He's gonna let me go.
I think I've proven myself.
Yeah, he's like, no, go back. We'll contact you. But anyways, there was no problem. 3 months later, I got the visa approved and
still while operating.
Yep.
With the SEAL teams. Jesus.
And just from there, I flew to the U.S. I live in North Carolina briefly with Fritz, and I reconnected with all the MARSOC guys that I worked with.
Oh my God! Tell me, Okay, so you get your pass, and then when Team 7's getting ready, I'm assuming that they're leaving Iraq. Do you go with them? Do you like shake their hands and say like, but you're on the Freedom Bird too, right?
Yep,
so you're getting your own thing. What was that like? My God,
they were preparing to leave as well, and we had also done a lot with that team, like on the training side. We got really close. I still talk to those guys. One of them, he's still active in charge of the training center at NLSW, and he's my older brother, basically.
Oh my God.
They're like, dude, see you on the other side. You can roll with us, but it would have been a harder process to go through with those guys. I had to like get my own plane and like, because you have to be officially admitted to the U.S. at the border at the airport, like customs, and that was a whole different story. I got held up for a few hours. Same thing, investigation. And
I can only imagine.
Yeah,
that poor investigator has to see you. They're like, "Okay, you did what?" And you're like, "Ah." It's hard to say when someone's giving you clearance and you're like into the country and you're like, "You don't have the security clearance to know what I did." Like,
exactly.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, what year did you finally first touchdown feet in the United States?
2019. End of September. Moved to North Carolina, get picked up by Fritz and Nate Harris, the guy on the team, the MARSOC team that told me we're going to watch you for 2 weeks. He's like family now. And then I prepared to join the Marine Corps.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Azad eventually joins the Marines and then eventually goes and becomes an infantry Marine. I guess I just have one question for you. Why? Like you have reached the mountaintop. If I'm trying to keep track, you served with the 101st U.S. Army, the 82nd Marine Special Operations, SEAL Team 1, 3, 5, and 7.
Yep.
And then you come to the United States, and then you decide that you want to join the United States Marines. You want to enlist as an infantry Marine in the United States Marines.
Yep.
Why?
It's a great question. I felt like my job wasn't done.
I am not laughing at you on that one, my friend.
I know what you mean.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Continue. I'm so sorry.
I was inspired by Marines. Just throughout the whole time I was a translator. Like, respect to all the guys that I worked with. I was very inspired by Marines. I could see just the difference between everybody else. I could just see the impact they would leave when they left, or the touches, and a lot of reasons why I joined the military. Obviously, incredible, best military in the world, but the Marine Corps and the infantry specifically is, I felt like I had to also prove myself that I'm able to do what I want to do, and joining the Marine Corps was the best decision I've ever made.
So we have a couple of different touch points. The first touch point that we kind of glazed over is a gentleman by the name of Fritz Slayer. And Fritz and I actually knew each other because when I was a pig in a sniper platoon, Staff Sergeant Slayer was my platoon sergeant in 3-5, and we went to Fallujah together. And I don't know if you knew that before the interview. I know we may have touched on that beforehand. And so our paths, that's what I say, our paths have crossed for the last 20 years. We've just never actually met. And then the course that you went through, the infantry Marine course, you went through on the East Coast. I was on the West Coast and part of the original development team to try to reinvent Marine infantry and how we train Marine infantry. And you were one of the first classes to go through the product that we had spent 20 years learning and 4 years developing. And so when Fritz reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've got somebody, I have a picture of you when you were going through SOI East," right? And then coming full circle, I had no idea. And the third touch point is that, and what I want to get into in a little bit is that I, went and, was up in Northern California for a short period of time. A lot of people know I ran for office and was unsuccessful in that, but I met a family that also knew you. And so this family said, "You have to meet Azad. He was a translator and then a U.S. Marine and went into the infantry." And I was like, man, there is not a lot of people with that resume. And then they shared with me the very same picture that I had, that Fritz had sent me a few years beforehand. And now finally, the way that we get to meet in person is both being students at University of San Diego. Man, this world is a weird, weird, weird place.
Absolutely.
So you did how long in the Marines?
I did almost 4 years.
Okay.
I go to boot camp in Paris Island. It was awesome. I wish they allow you to laugh. It would make life easier.
Marines are known for that. Yeah.
It was the best. It was very funny, very fun. I learned a lot. I proved myself. If anything, I proved to myself I can do things. Because I really never went through like a official course or training throughout the whole thing until I went to boot camp, and that really helped me put the dots together. Like, okay, this is why certain things are done certain ways. Specifically going to the infantry, I refined. Everything was refined in my head, like the cherry on top. Yeah. Okay, I've already seen all this, and now this is making sense. Put it together. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, I graduate, get to the fleet. I was at 1-4. Get to my unit, my platoon. We were a track company.
Yeah,
I got to have fun. I have to mention that I have a lot of respect for my seniors in the fleet, that where personal friends with those guys that we lost in the tragedy of the AAV that went down in the San Clemente Island. And so showing up to the fleet, specifically the company that I was part of, was still recovering from that. So there was a lot of standards, a lot of shoes to fill, and I had an incredible time. We trained hard, and we were ready.
Okay, so after now leaving the Marines, you were with 1-4, got a chance to deploy with 1-4, I'm assuming.
Yep.
What, 15th MU? 31st MU out of Okinawa. Yep. Fantastic. Yep. I'm quite familiar with that. Okay, so then what rank did you get to in the Marines?
Corporal.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah, yep. Man. All right, so then left the Marine Corps and then decided to enter into University of San Diego. Now, you're also part of another organization. Can you tell me a little bit about that organization and what led you to that organization, what that organization does, and what you hope it to do?
So in 2019, when I got out of Iraq, they reached out to me, both me and Fritz. The organization is called No One Left Behind. It was founded by an interpreter from Afghanistan, actually, who is known. His name is Janis Shinwari. He's known for saving a couple American soldiers' lives in combat in Afghanistan. So he comes over to the U.S. and they start a GoFundMe for him, and he uses that money and finds this organization. And what the organization does is helps interpreters and their families, both from Iraq and Afghanistan. We're heavily involved in helping them maneuver through the visa process, to evacuating them and to getting them here and helping them resettle. So they reached out to me and they said, you're one of two people that made it out of Iraq in 2019 on that visa. Can you come on board and help us understand what you do? How can we make it better? And I've been involved with them since then, just doing awesome work. We help a lot of people, like interpreters and their families, help them resettle, establish, find them jobs, get them, buy them vehicles, home rent, home furniture. And it's bigger than myself, what I do at No One Left Behind. It's giving back because I've been very lucky to have met a lot of incredible people in my life that helped me.
What are some of the things that we don't know about the SIV process that would be good for us to know?
Unfortunately, there's a lot of hiccups in the process, especially for Iraqis. What we're really trying and fighting for with the State Department, we're advocating to them so that they change the qualifications for the Iraqi interpreters. It's much easier, and this is not to make Afghanistan look a certain way. It's much easier as an Afghan interpreter to qualify for the visa. It's very much harder for an Iraqi. You need that general recommendation letter, and a lot of people.
So why is that?
They just changed the qualification because technically it's safer as an interpreter in Iraq. You're not in much danger as an interpreter in Afghanistan.
Well, I think your story would beg to disagree.
But we've been trying really hard with the State Department to push and change the qualifications on that program, and we really haven't had much success. They have incredible amount of people that they constantly hire to speed up the process for the Afghanistan program, but the Iraqi program is still struggling, and it's only 50 visas a year. Like, they gave 50 visas a year to all the interpreters that work in Iraq. There's thousands of them, and those 50 need signed letters from generals, and that has been a main mission for us that we've been trying to push.
So how can we help? I mean, we don't do a lot of plugs, right? As you guys know on the channel, it's really just about the story itself. But I feel really compelled to ask you, how can we help as a country that is, deeply grateful for what you've done and what you continue to do for the people that you served? Like, how do we help? Is there, can we write letters? Can we donate money? Can we, put it on our podcast? Like, what can we do to be able to help you out and the No One Left Behind mission?
Thank you. There's a lot of avenues that people help. Actually, the main thing for us is just raising awareness and putting the name of the organization out there. We accept people that want to volunteer for us. We have incredible, generous donors that donate to the organization. And just the main thing is, if you see this, reach out to me. If you want to help in any way, there's a lot of people, a lot of immigrants out there that are legally admitted to our country that have served and saved lives of our troops that need help. So if you think you have anything that can help, please reach out to us. It's nooneleftbehind.org. Our name is out there, mission is out there. We accept any form of help. We've had families that, a recent family that I personally received, their father was a translator for the Green Berets, and he died. He was killed in combat, and his wife and 4 or 5 children, they made it out to the U.S. in San Diego. We had to put them in a hotel for like 2 weeks until we were able to get them an apartment and establish them like some help from the county. But there's always people that need help, and if anybody wants to come forward, our name is out there, and please, we'll take anything, any help.
Did you become a United States citizen?
Yes, through the Marine Corps.
Through the Marine Corps?
Yep.
Well, you know what? I have heard a lot of stories, but I have never heard someone fight so hard to become a United States citizen.
Thank you.
And who has earned it so deservingly.
Thank you.
I am so grateful to have had this conversation with you. Normally there's kind of a battery of questions that I ask at the end, to each guest to be able to, give them the floor. But I just want to give you the chance. If you'd like to talk to the camera, if there's anything that you'd like to say, I'll shut up. The floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you. I am just another guy out there. I worked really hard to prove myself that there's nothing impossible. Once you put your mind into something, you can accomplish it. And my advice to you is just be humble and be a good person.
Well, thank you very much, Azad. You have officially broken the record for the longest combat story interview, and I have been on the edge of my seat for the entire time. I can't thank you enough for this, and I look forward to the next time that we sit down. You have a friend in me. I'll see you on campus naturally, and I look forward to any way that I can continue to help.
Thank you very much, AJ, for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, you've just heard one of the most compelling interviews I've had of my career thus far. Please reach out via the Combat Story email or on Instagram. We'll be able to to respond back and forth. But I want to thank Azad for coming here.
Thank you very much.
You are the example for other Marines to emulate.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you. Thanks, AJ.
All right.